And good morning. It is a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I am Glenn. He's Griffin. Carson Tri-Weekly back with us as well this morning. Thank you to everyone who came out for the Tyus Bowser Show last night at the Hamilton Sports Bar and Grill. Awesome night hanging out with Tyus and Devin Duvernay. We're going to get you segment number 1 of the Tyus Bowser Show coming up a little bit later on this morning. If you missed any of it, you'll be able to hear it Friday night on 105.7 The Fan. Really great time. Really great time last night. Little Jameson brought us some Christmas presents. Grade 8's memorabilia gave away a Tyus Bowser jersey to a young man named Carson, and Tyus's inscription when he signed it was really kind of beautiful. Just a really cool night. Got a great group of people that come out regularly now for the Tyus Bowser Show, and new folks that we're seeing every week. Love being at the Hamilton Sports Bar and Grill. So thank you guys for showing up. And if you missed it, we have good news. There is one more scheduled before the regular season is over. Normally we go every other week. We're going to go 3 weeks. We're going to kind of try to skip past the holiday season. And we are going to go to January 3rd. January 3rd, we will be back at Guilford Hall Brewery, 1611 Guilford Avenue in Station North, for the final Tyus Bowser Show of the season. We hope that you will come join us for that. It is brought to you by Maryland Vascular Specialist, the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill. Tyus Bowser Show is a partnership of Pressbox and Grade 8's Memorabilia. Looking forward to seeing you on January 3rd. Here's what's coming up today. In addition to segment number 3 of the Tyus Bowser Show, in a few minutes, Rick Spielman, former NFL GM, is going to join us. He did a video for the 33rd team, and the headline was quite attention-grabbing. It said, "Why is no one talking about the 9-4 Baltimore Ravens?" And I said, okay, I'll bite. You got me, 33rd team. You did it. A successful grab. And it wasn't nearly as electric. It was just a pretty good sort of explanation of what the Ravens are and why they have a chance, but it wasn't like he didn't say anything crazy in the video. It just was an interesting look at where the Ravens stand among other AFC contenders that are getting a bit more attention than they are. Everybody's talking about the Bengals, despite the fact that the Bengals, at the moment, if the season ended today, would not win the AFC North. Just a weird little thing. We'll talk more about it with Rick Spielman in a few minutes. Also this morning, Matt Stover will join us. Of course, Matt Stover's franchise record for points scored went down on Sunday when Justin Tucker made his first field goal. I'll talk to Matt Stover about Justin Tucker surpassing him and just about being Matt Stover because, he's Matt Stover. And Drew Forrester, as I mentioned, is going to stop in studio. He will hang out for better or for worse. We'll play a little Would You Rather Wednesday. Scenarios are up at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio. You can win a $25 gift card to Glory Days Grill just by participating in Would You Rather Wednesday. So Tyler Huntley, this is a weird bit. Tyler Huntley participates in a walkthrough yesterday, but isn't out of concussion protocol, which seems like a weird thing that the NFL would allow. I get it. If it's a walkthrough, it's not a full practice. So the Ravens, I was trying to say reason and Ravens at the same time. The reason why the Ravens hold a walkthrough yesterday instead of a full practice is because it was a Tuesday. They had to move the week up by a day this week with the game being on Saturday. So they do a full practice. On Tuesday, it's only 48 hours removed from having played a game, and everybody involved thinks that's a bad idea. So they decided to do a walkthrough yesterday, so there's no hitting, and what they're saying is with no hitting, well, even if you have a concussion, you can walk through, right? Like there's no contact involved with this. This is just us, out for a leisurely stroll on a football field. And so when you see that, you kind of say to yourself, okay, well, that makes sense. But it still seems odd. It feels like if someone isn't cleared from concussion protocol yet, you probably want them to avoid doing much of anything at all. Maybe stay in a room that isn't tremendously lit, wear some sunglasses, things like that. I think any of us who have had concussions, and I get it, not every concussion is made the same, and I've had some where, like, I don't like talking about the fact that I was an idiot. Like, I'd like to tell you that all my concussions came from athletics, but a lot of them came from just getting drunk, just doing incredibly stupid things in the era of the television program Jackass, and believing that there would be no repercussions from them. It's terrifying thinking about some of the things I've been through. The last concussion I got was, I believe, during my bachelor party when I was playing Can Jam with some friends and wanted to heroically save a Frisbee and ran headfirst directly into a fence. And
I thought you were going to say you, like, headed it in.
No, I did not do that.
That would have been impressive.
I found out my brother-in-law cannot throw a Frisbee. Weird bit. Don't know what that's all about. Not that hard to throw a Frisbee, but my brother-in-law can't do it. So I let him be my teammate in the first throw right towards the fence. Now, of course, I'm a hero, and I believe that I can still get points on anything. I never give up. That's because I'm obviously a well-conditioned athlete. I am a top 1%. I think everybody knows that. So I dead sprint towards the fence and mess my face up dramatically 1 week before my wedding. Had to hire someone to do makeup for me so that I didn't have a mangled face for my wedding. All of this a straight shoot. All of this 100% accurate. But I'm telling you, for that week, that particular concussion was bad enough that I couldn't be in a well-lit room. I had to have the lights off the entirety of the week. Hopefully, this particular concussion for Tyler Huntley, or maybe it's not actually been diagnosed as a concussion, he's just in the protocol, is not like that. But still, I am confused by this, and it feels like maybe if someone's in concussion protocol, you probably, if you're the NFL, should say, hey, no, we're not doing this. You're going to sit it out until we clear you.
Especially with Tua earlier this season, and we saw with protocol in it, not in it, and then, he goes out in a game, and it's a real problem.
A lot of issues there. So that was weird to me. It's weird. I get it. It's not a practice. It's still weird. I think you read into it positively. I think that I would like to hope, beyond hope, that if there was any real risk, the Ravens would have said, no, stay home. Or, no, don't do this. I'd like to hope, to Carson Wheatley's point, obviously seeing what happened earlier this season with Tua Tagovailoa, I don't know where our faith is that teams are always going to do the right thing. I hope that the Ravens were not putting Tyler Huntley at any greater risk, and that it's a sign that, as John Harbaugh said after the game when he said, look, man, he seems okay to me, and you can do the months backwards and all that nonsense. I hope that it's a positive sign for Tyler Huntley's availability for Saturday against the Browns. We will continue, of course, to monitor that throughout the week, and at some point the Ravens will have to announce that Tyler Huntley has cleared a concussion protocol or not. Now, the other thing, too, is that he can clear a concussion protocol even when a final injury report comes out, and because of the way the week is structured, that will now come out on Thursday. He could clear concussion protocol on Friday. He could clear concussion protocol on Saturday. He doesn't have to clear it by Thursday. It's a little bit, as I keep saying, this is different than an injury. This is different than, a guy dealing with a leg thing where if they get to Thursday and he hasn't been out on the practice field at all, the most likely scenario is he ain't playing on Sunday. Tyler Huntley hasn't been cleared by Friday, but he gets cleared on Friday night. He's almost certainly going to play on Saturday. That's the nature of concussion protocol. We will continue to monitor that. Hopefully, we get that news within 5 minutes. Hopefully, before the end of the show, somebody tweets out that Tyler Huntley has cleared concussion protocol and will be available to play. UMBC did not cover last night. Pretty spectacular failure to cover. They were up 72-64 with 49 seconds left and just didn't make a free throw. Just couldn't make a free throw. Allowed Loyola to cover, so it was bad news for our buddy Aaron, who...
And me.
Oh, did you play it?
Yeah, I tailed
it. Oh, man, I thought it was a good bet. I didn't play it, but
Yeah.
I thought it was a good bet. I mean, it's an awkward thing because I work for Loyola, so I kind of avoided that one. But I really
Smart.
did. I thought it was. Well, I mean, that's not the reason. I assure you, if I didn't work for Loyola, I would have played it last night. Yeah, that was rough. I was feeling it for Aaron. I didn't realize you played it too. Boy, that's rough. Hey, did you go see Avatar?
I did, yeah.
How
I
was
did.
it?
It was very good. It's an investment. It's a long movie.
How long?
Long movie. It is over 3 hours long.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's like 3:10, I think, or something.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest with you, the first one was not my jam. It didn't like I'm being as honest as I can be about it. I have attempted to watch it a few times and I get so bloody bored by it.
Really?
I don't hate it. I don't have any animosity towards it. It just isn't my thing. Like, I get it. The visuals are kind of stunning. Like, I understand. But the story has just never captivated me in any sort of way.
I can understand that. I think it is worth seeing in a theater.
Mrs. Clark wants to go see this one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Mrs. Clark loves the first one. She was very angry that when we were giving away the passes for Avatar, she was like, so we're going, right? I'm like, no, we have a Tyus Bowser show. Like, that's what we're doing on Tuesday. She said, oh. Like, if you would like to go, she said, no, I'll just wait. You can go with me later. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I have no interest. You didn't want to go see Violent Night? I don't want to go see Avatar. Really weird how this works.
I think it's worth seeing in a theater. But I mean, I think it is more about the theatrical experience of it, seeing it on the big screen, all the colors, all the visuals.
I get that it looks
that kind of thing.
Again, it looks really cool.
Yes.
I don't know, man. It just nothing about it was all that compelling.
And
to me.
I understand that. I think after seeing both, I like the first one better than this one.
Okay. All right.
So I'll say that.
What Griffin's saying is it sucks and don't go see it unless you want to waste a Tuesday night. Unless you want to have a miserable Tuesday night and hate yourself for the rest of your life. Don't go see Avatar is what he was. That's did I
No, that's not exactly what I'm saying.
That's not what you're saying. Weird. I thought that was what you were saying. It's the worst film you've ever seen in your entire life. You're going to walk out.
I got to
after
step
an
in
hour
here.
and a half.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Definitely not the worst.
How early?
Halloween Ends
how early
is the
did
worst
you have
film
to, How
I've ever
early did
seen.
you have to get there?
I got there right in the nick of time. I got there about 25 minutes before.
And still got in?
Yeah, still got in.
Okay. Wow.
So we were cutting it close.
That's an upset.
Yes.
My buddy, one of our other folks who got in, our buddy Ben, got there an hour early and was like, I'm not sure we're making it in.
I was worried there was an accident. So on 695 East, it was clear there was no accident, but there was an accident on 695 West, and everyone on heading east towards White Marsh was slowing down to watch. So that slowed me down. And I was like, man, we're gonna come all the way out to White Marsh and almost not see this.
I got shut out of. I'm trying to think of what it was. It was something I didn't care about, so I didn't. I've done a lot of movie premieres in my life, and a lot of times I've been on like a press list, so it didn't matter when I got there.
Seat.
Yeah, I had a reserved seat for him.
For Glenn Clark.
Like I remember, I specifically remember. I think it was Dan Connolly randomly, and I were for some reason they assigned. I guess because it was the off season. They did a premiere for The Blind Side, right? And I want to say it was at one of maybe at the Senator. And I remember there being this like massive crowd there, and they were being told they couldn't get in. And Dan Connolly and I were trying to like weave our way through this. Sorry.
You're like, who are they?
Yeah, right. There was a lot of that. Like, why are these people allowed in? What makes them so special? I was like, well, I'm Glenn Clark. I don't understand how you don't get that. But I've done a lot of those over the years. I did one. This is a straight shot. I did one for the remake of True Grit, that came out a few years back with I never remember who's Rachel Steinfeld or who's Haley Steinfeld and who's Sarah Hyland. I always get those two. I get those two. Sarah Hyland's the one from Modern Family, right?
Yes.
And then Haley Steinfeld was the one that was in True Grit and did the song that was popular, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so Haley Steinfeld in True Grit, and not even kidding, the projector blew with like 20 minutes left in the film, and these people from the movie company walk in and they're like, the way that these screeners work is literally they evaporate essentially after you play it. We can't restart the film.
Oh my god!
It's the most uncomfortable moment I've ever experienced in a movie theater. They're just like shrugging. Like, we're gonna give you free passes to come back. Like, what a I'm telling you, in like the critical part of the motion picture.
Man.
I think we're gonna be giving away some passes to a trailer of Megan, that horror flick where it's the
robot
the doll
girl.
essentially, like comes to
creepy.
life.
Looks very
it
creepy.
Looks extraordinarily creepy. I think we're going to be giving away some passes to an advanced screening of that as well here in the coming weeks. So we'll see how we want to go about doing that. Maybe any of those of you that come in next, we might be able to do that for Monday and our Glory Days Grill. I'll have to check in with the promotions department about that. Anyway, so that was what Griffin did on Tuesday night because he, of course, did not want to come out to the Tyus Bowser Show. He said, I hate Tyus Bowser.
No,
I particularly hate
true.
Devin Duvernay. And more than anyone, I hate Rita, which was weird because
Rita, I
she's
do
like
not
the most
hate
likable person on the face of the planet.
I love Rita.
Really weird how that worked out. He said, I would rather do anything, including seeing a movie that I hated, instead of that.
Didn't hate it.
Carlos Correa goes to the Giants for about $1 billion, I believe was the number, dollars.
Just about
13 years and $350 million was correct. Those are the terms.
Until he qualifies for AARP.
Well, he'll be 41.
Yeah, 41,
which is like somebody did the math on this last night. Like all of the shorts, Bogarts, Trey Turner, and Carlos Correa now all have deals that take them through the age of 41, which is a weird
for a shortstop.
Bit. Yeah. Yes. It's easy to say like, well, that's too much, or okay, fine. I keep coming back to this. It's not your money. Why are you worried about that? I've never understood why fans are worried about that. Would I have wanted the Orioles to do a 13-year, $350 million deal for Carlos Correa? I'm not telling you that I think it's the greatest contract in baseball history, but it ain't my money. And there's always this thing, and I think in particular in Baltimore we're afraid of it because we believe that if a contract gets bad, a team will use this as an excuse to not spend any more money because that's essentially what the Orioles did with Chris Davis, right? Like, well, we got Chris Davis. What are we supposed to do, spend more money? Yes. Yes. That's the answer. That's the way this works. There's no salary cap. If you have a bad contract on the books, how's that any different than having a Rule 5 player who's not worthy of being on the team on the books? You're going to be using a roster spot inevitably at some point on a player who's not actually helping you. If it happens to be on a player who helped you for a few years and then by the end wasn't particularly helpful, so be it. So be it. And who knows? Again, I get that it got ugly with Chris Davis. The likelihood, that's the worst thing that could ever possibly happen. That being your standard is an unfair standard. It's totally possible that Carlos Correa could still swing a bat. It's worked out fairly well for Nelson Cruz, by the way, late into his 40s. It's totally possible that even if he can't play shortstop at some point, Carlos Correa could do something else. I, again, don't think it's a great contract, but I'm always confused by why it is that we're worried about judging the contract. How does that impact you? How does it change your life? You're still going to go see movies that you hate on Tuesday nights. You're still going to go, give the middle finger to your coworkers and say, I'm not coming out to your event on Tuesday nights.
It's not what I did.
All of those things. You're still going to do all of that if the Orioles spend $350 million on a baseball player. So I'll never understand that. I'll never understand us getting worked up about a contract. I hope that it's one less team competing for Carlos Rodon. I hope that the Giants signing Carlos Correa means there's one fewer team that has big money to go after Carlos Rodon. Does that mean that he's going to end up in Baltimore? I'd still bet against it. I'll always bet against it. It is weird that everyone else is signed, right? Like, it's weird that everybody but the top pitcher on the market, the guy that was most desirable because of his age. I get it. Like, obviously, Verlander and that, those guys were desirable, but, like, they were a different type of DeGrom. Maybe DeGrom is probably the top. I don't know.
Rodon's desirable because you can sign him for, like, 6 or 7 years. And it's
right. His age
makes
him, to me, the most desirable starting pitcher on the market,
Same.
And yet he's the one that's still sitting out there. Like, that's weird. That's weird and makes you wonder what is the unique problem, the extraordinary nature of the contract that he's looking for. Is there something, again, we talked a lot about Carlos Rodon's injury history. Is there something about that that's scaring teams off? Why is it that Rodon, of everyone, is the guy that's still sitting out there on the market?
I would like to know if this was a previous year's free agent market, because this year was particularly deep for starting pitching. So I think that also has something to do with it, is teams maybe not wanting to make a big splash on a Rodon, but here's a Chris Bassett, here's a Taijuan Walker, here's a guy like that you can get for 3 years and $40-something million instead of having to break the bank on Rodon.
Just the nature of how deep it was. I don't know why you wouldn't want Rodon.
I don't know
still
either.
Don't get that.
Especially these big money spending teams.
Yeah,
you got Boston who loses Bogarts. They're not going to pay him.
Exactly.
It is surprising.
Today's show also brought to you by the Baltimore County Police Department. If you missed out on their big event on Saturday, they still, through the end of this week, are collecting toys and non-perishable food items at all of the Baltimore County Police Department precincts, as well as at Glory Days Grill across the street here in Towson. Stop by. Please help lift them up as they lift up the community. And if you're thinking about a career change, great opportunities at the Baltimore County Police Department. Go to joinbaltimorecountypd.com in order to find out more. Joining us now, this headline jumped off the page at me. It was a video he did for the 33rd team. Why isn't anybody talking about the 9-4 Ravens? Well, let's find out a little bit more about that. He is former NFL GM and our friend Mr. Rick Spielman. He's back with us now here on GCR. Rick, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, sir. Happy holidays, and thank you for taking the time for us.
No, thanks for having me on. And that 3 years, $40 million sounds pretty expensive to me. That's a bargain nowadays. Is that what we're going to talk about?
I'd be willing to take the deal for what it's worth. I'd be willing if necessary. Rick, it's always a funny thing to me, right? Because we're talking about baseball. In football, I get it. There's a salary cap. You have to judge contracts. You can only. I understand that in baseball there's no salary cap. So when people start saying things like, I'd never give Carlos Correa 13 years and $350 million, I'm like, why not? How is that impacting your life in any way?
My hot dog's going to cost a little bit more at the park.
Maybe,
but that's about it.
But if the team's good, I'm willing to spend a couple more bucks on hot dogs. Gosh. All right. Rick, I think it's a fair question. Look, even in the division itself, the Bengals are getting all of the attention in the world right now. Whereas if the playoffs started today, the Bengals would not win the AFC North. It would still be the Baltimore Ravens. Are the Baltimore Ravens being too overlooked at the moment?
I think everybody, Cincinnati, it was kind of like the media darling because they, came off a Super Bowl, although they lost last year. Baltimore, and then Cincinnati was actually struggling pretty much through the beginning part of the year. And then Baltimore, when you look at this football team, it's incredible what John Harbaugh does every year. They dealt with the injuries. Their defense was struggling. I mean, how many times did they give up 17-point second-half leads? So, but I give a lot of credit to Eric DaCosta and to Coach Harbaugh on getting aggressive, because I think when they went out and made that trade for Roquan Smith, that made a whole difference on how that defense is playing right now. The other thing that probably people are overlooking is that, okay, you got Lamar out right now with a knee. Huntley comes in. But what they did to Cleveland last week with is that they just ran the ball right down their throats. And as long as they're able to run the ball and play defense like they're playing now, I think that it's kind of good for them to be under the radar, because usually if you can do that, that's a pretty good winning formula here late in the season and when you get into the playoffs.
So it's interesting you bring up Roquan, because I wrote about it earlier in the week. This is insane. My expectations were high, and he's surpassed them somehow. It's nuts. This is the most significant game changer the Ravens have had on that side of the ball since prime Terrell Suggs. I mean, it's unbelievable the impact he's making. But there's an awkward side to this, which is, the reason why he was available is because he wanted $20 million a year, and he plays inside linebacker, and you got some other things that you want to do. I think the Ravens have to figure this out. That this man is too impact. He's too special for this to turn into a rental. Can you pay an inside linebacker $20 million a year, even if they're as good as Roquan Smith, to keep him around?
Well, are you guys going to pay a pitcher 3 years at $40 million? Why not?
There's no salary cap, and you know, Rick Spielman, you're trying to use my words right back on me. I see what you're doing there. Yeah.
No, he's been the difference he's made on that defense, and not just from what he's doing on the field, but the leadership and how he has settled down a lot of that young talent they have on the defensive side of the ball. It seems like he's really ingrained himself in that locker room, and he's probably did that by proving what type of football player he is on the field, but now he's becoming a leader of that football team just from the outside looking in. So that is an integral part of your defense moving forward, and you don't want to give up what you gave up just for a one-year rental. So I am sure when they made that trade that they weren't just looking at it as a one-year rental. Now they're going to have to figure out the contract, and there is ways to figure it out to make sure it fits underneath the cap, and it's and how you spread that money out going forward, especially with the Lamar situation still unsettled with his contract. So, but I do believe that because of what he's done, but not only what he's done on the field, but what he's done as a leader on that team, which is pretty incredible for only being there for such a short time.
It's unreal.
That they're definitely going to have to try to sign him to a long-term extension. And he's in the prime of his career.
Right.
You're not talking about a 32-year-old linebacker. And the other value he has is he's not just a middle line. He's a 3-down linebacker that has an impact on the major downs in a game, and usually that's on third down.
I mean, he truly does everything. Like, it's just insane how. And to your point, it's not just as a leader. He's ingratiated himself in the community. He's he started hating the Steelers immediately. Like, you couldn't ask for anything more from a dude that showed up in the middle of the season than what you've gotten from Roquan Smith. Rick Spielman is with us here on GCR.
I apologize. That was Pittsburgh they played last week that they ran the ball down their throat.
Correct.
That's right.
Correct. Exactly right. And as you know,
speak up if I make a mistake.
It's all right, Rick. These things happen. These things happen. Rick, you bring up the Lamar thing, right? And I know you and I talked about this a few months ago. Of course, you're a guy who's given a fully guaranteed contract to someone. It's an awkward spot because if Lamar were to have to play on the franchise tag next season, then it would make it almost nearly impossible to do much of anything else because that figure hit in 1 year becomes, almost killer to anything else you might do. Is there a point at which the Ravens, if this is, hard line that Lamar is drawing about the words fully guaranteed, which is always a bit of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, because we know the quarterback's going to get the money anyway. Like, if he does draw a hard line about that, is there a point where the Ravens have to say to themselves, even if we get a stink face, even if we get, angry looks when we show up for, owners or GMs meetings, we need to do this because it's best for our football team to enable us to do these other things like a Roquan Smith deal?
I think it just like we talked about in the past is what is your business principles and business philosophies, because when you go down that road, and I understand it's a quarterback, so maybe you can justify that it's a different position, but as soon as you go away from whatever your business principles are in your contract, then you're opening up a can of worms. On the other side of it, let's say if we don't do it and it's not Lamar, then who? Who's going to be our quarterback? Going back to the flip side is that with his style of play, and he's hurt again, and he is, what makes him so dangerous is not only what he can do with his arm, although I do believe they need to get some more playmakers on the outside for him, but what he does with his legs. But that also puts him at a higher risk. So if you're in the front office potentially of Baltimore and you're giving him a fair market deal, but it's not fully guaranteed, and he's stuck on it, and you say you just franchise him, then it's like you're paying as you go. So God forbid if you ever had a significant injury where he's not the same Lamar, I've experienced it with Teddy Bridgewater. He was never the same after that devastating knee injury he had. Then it's in favor of the club because they're just paying as they go.
I want to cover something, Rick. There's a lot of people that, Lamar's had, obviously an injury now and was having a rough couple of weeks ahead of that, although at the beginning of the season he was playing brilliantly. And somebody will say something like, well, he's going to have a hard time getting that contract now. Can you explain to the average folks why maybe that doesn't matter the way that they think that it matters? Why negotiations with quarterbacks don't typically end up being about, like the 3 weeks that you saw beforehand versus the idea that either you're a quarterback or you're not?
Yeah, no, you're looking at the whole picture of his career, what he's done for that organization. But also I think that organization has done a lot for him on how they adjusted, and Greg Roman and Coach Harbaugh, on how they adjusted the scheme to fit his skill set. And he's played it at MVP level. So, just because he may have a down 3 weeks or didn't look the same as a Lamar, and I believe some of it has to do with the lack of playmakers they have at the receiver position right now, that also contribute to that. But you got to look at this kid and what he's done for his career. And I know ultimately you're going to get judged on whether you win a Super Bowl or not. The MVP stuff and everything else is great. He's one of the premier quarterbacks in this league. But ultimately it's going to be decided on whether you win a Super Bowl or not. And there are contracts since Deshaun Watson's that have came out that are significant amounts of money, but they're not fully guaranteed.
Correct. And you would hope.
But it's like the same thing. You always look at the first 3 years of a contract,
right? In
my opinion. And if you want to give this guy, which should be north of Kyler Murray and button up against where Aaron Rodgers is and things like that, that first 3 years of the contract, let's say it's a 6-year deal, well, it may not be fully guaranteed, but for the most part, are you going to cut this guy with that amount of money and signing bonus and guaranteed monies, which is going to be a significant amount in those first 3 years? No, you're not. So I always argued back that if we're giving this guy this kind of money, technically it's fully guaranteed, because even though it doesn't say it on the paper, we're not going to cut this guy, and he's going to make this money the first 3 years of the deal anyway.
Correct. I mean, there's this thing where people think the quarterbacks get cut. Although, I don't know, maybe we're going to this game might have to be played at some point with Russell Wilson in Denver. Like, I know we've never seen this before, but, man, it is so poisonous there that I'm starting to wonder if at some point they might have no choice but to just suck up a ton of dead cap space. Not saying they do that anytime soon, but if it gets no better, my God, I have no idea. We could be reaching unprecedented times in Denver when it comes to Russell Wilson.
Yeah, but that's different than a Lamar situation.
Of course.
They know they drafted Lamar. They've been around Lamar. They know who he is as a person and as a football player. So that's totally two different opinion, or two different sides of it in my opinion.
I'm with you.
We've always had I always had the philosophy: draft well and then invest in those guys, because those are the ones you know the best.
Rick, you brought up a couple of times what the Ravens haven't done for Lamar Jackson, and that, I think, to me, is a significant part of the story. If for some reason they don't end up getting the ship righted this season, and they don't make a run deep into the postseason, this isn't about Greg Roman specifically. It's about the entire organizational philosophy. Like, everyone from top down has bought into the idea of, you zig, we zag. If you get 5 years into it and what you have to show is, 1 or 2 playoff wins at that point, and that's it, does it become time to reconsider? Not even necessarily about leadership. The idea of moving on from John Harbaugh is insane, right? Like, all he ever does is win.
Oh, God.
But do you have to, the philosophy of your franchise, at some point, do you have to reconsider that and say, look, we've been trying this for 5 years. We don't have a ton to show for it. Maybe we need to stop devaluing wide receiver. Maybe we need to consider the idea that we can, in order to do something more, we're going to have to, change things a little bit as far as the way that we approach offensive football.
Yeah, I think that's part of your evaluation every offseason, and then especially identifying what your needs are going into the off season, and trying to address those needs. And, you have your philosophies on how you build this football team, but I also know that what you're seeing and not only what these guys are getting paid, but how significant a difference maker can be at the receiver position. Look at what Tyreek Hill did in Baltimore, in Miami, and they have Waddle. Look at what, Justin Jefferson's doing. Look what Chase is doing. So even when Vegas traded for Adams, now they've been going through some growing pains, but there's no question when they throw the ball to Adams, he's a difference maker for them on the offensive side of the ball. And I think that's just because offenses are evolving. And now all of a sudden what you're seeing over the last 2 or 3 years is, well, we can always find receivers, but now when you can find one that's a huge difference maker, that seems to be the trend right now.
Yeah, it seems to be helpful. All of a sudden, Stephon Diggs shows up in Buffalo, and Josh Allen goes from being a guy that we wondered if he could do it to being the best quarterback in football. It's just a weird thing how that works. Really weird. Rick, all that said,
look, they were getting ready to run. There's the other one. They were getting ready to run 2 out, and then Hurts in Philly.
Yep.
It's like, is this guy our guy or not? And all of a sudden they go get A.J. Brown. Look at the difference in Philly now with a top-notch receiver.
By the way, for a couple of weeks, Justin Herbert didn't have his wide receivers this season, and everybody was ready to say maybe Justin Herbert's a little bit overrated, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And then he gets his guys back out on the field, and we're like, oh, right, that's Justin Herbert. I remember now. He is
He actually has some legit dudes to throw to.
Yes, it helps. Rick, before I let you go, I'll wrap sort of where we started, which is what we saw on Sunday against the Steelers, and the Ravens, again, imposing their will against while I know it was Mitch Trubisky who was throwing the ball, it's a really good run defense on the other side of things they were doing that against. And that's with J.K. Dobbins not really probably, admittedly not being 100% yet. We saw him kind of having to ease up on the long run, the 44-yard run that probably should have been a touchdown. If he continues to trend in the right way, they get Kevin Zeitler back, they get Lamar Jackson back. Is there still a chance that they can do this thing, this run-dominant thing that we saw a few years ago, even against the best teams in the AFC, the Bengals, the Dolphins, the Bills, the Chiefs, and make a run towards a Super Bowl?
Yeah, because I was, to be honest, pretty surprised how effective they were able to run the ball against the Steelers. Now, the Trubisky throwing up 3 interception also helps the cause as well, But when you are weaker in one area but can be dominant in another area, like they're playing on defense right now, and like when Dobbins is back and teaming him up with Gus Edwards, that's a pretty good 1-2 combination. And then you throw Lamar in there with what he can do. That does make it a very dangerous football team heading into the playoffs if they can stay healthy.
No question. That's been an issue for the last couple of years around here. Rick Spielman, obviously the 33rd team. What else can we plug for you, sir?
Oh, you have to go. We just started a new podcast on CBS called With the First Take. We've done 3 shows on already talking about the draft. Talked about some of the players that I've already seen and trying to make some comparisons to guys I've seen in the past. So it's been getting really good reviews. So it's that time of year. I know there's teams still in the playoffs and stuff, but people and fans are starting to get excited since the college season ended about this draft season coming up. So please tune into that. I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, for no reason at all. You want to give me a name of a wide receiver that could be available in the 20s that maybe, like, if a certain football team needed wide receivers, could be interesting to them?
Well, you're going to have to tune in
right.
With the First Take.
All right.
Unless I get that $3 or $40 million contract.
Yeah, all right. We'll work on
nothing.
that. We'll work on that. Rick Spielman, always appreciate taking the time for us, sir. Thank you so much for doing it, and very happy holidays to you and your family, all right?
And same to you. Thank you.
That's Rick Spielman, former NFL GM, with us here on GCR. I don't think Jackson Smith and Jigba will slip far enough that he could be in play for the Ravens.
I don't either.
I'd take Rakim Jarrett.
I'd take Jordan Addison too.
Well, I would definitely take Jordan Addison.
I don't know
where Jordan Addison's going to end
I think
up
maybe
going.
the combine is going to have something to do with the order of those guys, but you never know. Maybe he could fall.
It's weird. It feels like the wide receiver that's gotten the most kind of hype this year is the kid from TCU, Quentin Johnson, which like I certainly I see it, but I'm just surprised. Like I love Smith and Jigba. I love that dude.
I do too. I still think Jordan Addison's the best receiver in the draft, though. That's my personal take on it.
I like Addison a lot too. I mean,
I like Addison too. I think
every year there's dudes. I mean, I feel like.
Well, of course there's.
If they take a guy high, like.
Yeah, unfortunately, the year they took Hollywood Brown, it was the
other
dude. It was all of the other dudes.
It's like the Eagles with Jalen Rieger is like everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, they figured out a way to correct that. Unlike here, where that wasn't corrected. They took Hollywood Brown when you could have had Deebo Samuel or Terry McLaurin. This guy. I don't know what this shtick is. No idea what this shtick is. It's so bad. So bad. I don't know what he's doing. I have no idea. This is the scary part. No, he's got it. You go ahead. You got it. Yeah, you got to let him have that. So that's his spot. Yeah. What? What are you?
You're an Alabama basketball.
What did you
fan?
bet on last night that you're so mad about? What did you bet on?
Alabama minus 6.5 against Memphis.
And what did they?
My whole Christmas is ruined.
It's not as bad as what you see what UMBC did last night. Up by 8 in the final minute. 3.5 was the number. Couldn't make a free throw. They only win by 3.
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't follow it that much.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you don't follow it that much.
Who's this?
So short. This is Carson Weekly.
Shake my hand. Where'd you go to school, Carson?
I got to Ole Miss. I'm a junior there now.
Oh, I go to Ole Miss. Where'd you go to school here?
I went to Loyola.
Yeah. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Tested Coward Hall was too
Oh,
hard.
was that a Coward Hall ad I see?
Gonna
Was
be
it
awkward.
tested Coward Hall too hard that year?
Oh, yeah.
When you tried to get in?
I didn't pass it.
Yeah.
Gonna be awkward.
How'd the Turkey Bowl go this year?
Not so good.
Or
Well,
15 of the other 18 years.
told you
Well,
about it.
there was a fumble that wasn't ruled a fumble. That was the
I
difference in
told
the
you
game.
my kids.
They're going to blame the refs after they allowed a fake punt from the Calvert Hall 6-yard line.
That was really.
They
that was
allowed a
like-
fake punt, and they're going to blame the ref.
It was like 4th and 20, and
Is this the shtick we're gonna do for the entire?
You brought him in.
You got Alabama Memphis stuff, and you're gonna do Loyola Calvert Hall stuff for
You
the rest
brought
of the
him
show.
in.
That's the plan.
You brought a Don in.
The all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill is the perfect ceramic tailgate or home grill for grilling, searing, baking, smoking all kinds of food. GinsuGrills.com is the website. Use the code TAILGATE. Save $100, and it makes a perfect holiday gift. Whatever it is that you're planning on getting Dad, I promise you he would prefer to have a Ginsu Kamado Grill. When we come back in, yes, Drew Ford.
I don't have a lot of time because I got stuff going on today with the rectory.
What do you mean you don't have a lot of time?
I don't have a lot of time.
Could you have mentioned that when you? We would have rearranged. Stover's supposed to call in at 11 o'clock.
We'll talk about his kid who's a golfer. Going to Texas A&M.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Matt Stover's kid's
I
a
had no
very
idea.
good
I had
golfer.
no idea.
They
I had
moved
no
back
clue.
to Texas mostly for his son.
Nobody told me that. I didn't know
You
he
didn't
wasn't
know that?
living here. I had
He
no
lives
idea.
in Dallas.
I had no clue.
He moved back there mostly for Joe.
I had no idea. How about that? Well, that's not the reason why he's coming on.
And,
But we can talk about that.
And I got to get ready for the night. I got to get down to.
What are you doing?
I'm going down to D.C. for the game.
Are the Capitals playing tonight?
No,
College
Maryland.
Park?
Well, that's in College Park.
Well,
I don't know why you keep.
but you go to
What is this bit where you've suddenly become a super fan number? All right, we'll talk about that with Drew Forrester next. Glenn Clark Radio.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
What's up, everyone? This is Tyus Bowser, and I'm excited to tell you that I'm back for Season 2 of the Tyus Bowser Show in partnership with Pressbox and Great H Memorabilia. Join us on Tuesday nights throughout the season as I'll be heading all over town with my special guests. And of course, our co-hosts, Glenn and Rita. Or is it Rita and Glenn? What is it? I look forward to meeting you guys and talking a little bit about football and a lot about life. And if you happen to miss the show, you can now catch a replay Friday nights on 105.7 The Fan. Get all of your details for the Tyus Bowser Show right now at PressBoxOnline.com/Bowser.
The next Tyus Bowser Show is Tuesday, January 3rd at Guilford Hall Brewery, 1611 Guilford Avenue in Station North. It's brought to you by Maryland Vascular Specialist and the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill.
Sports betting has come to Maryland, and we're ready to help you win some money. Tune in for Simply the Bets every Tuesday morning at 11:40. FanDuel Sportsbook GM Leon Twyman and VSiN's Aaron Oster join the guys every week to give you all of the info you need and offer you a few winners. And every other Thursday at 11:40, tune in for Weekend at Bookies as Andrew Stecca and Alloy Sports' Brad Kronthal help make you some money for the weekend. So come win some money with us on Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday. Brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. Watch at YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline.
The weather outside is really unpleasant, so it's time to warm up with some comfort classics this winter at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill. Try the Twisted Ribs and Wings combo. It's 2 full pounds of meat, the mac and cheese bites, Mr. Richards meatloaf, the citrus salmon, the winter spinach salad, and for dessert, here's internet radio personality Griffin Bass to tell you about the bourbon butter cake.
Oh, my God, it's so good.
Pair it with a blood orange bourbon cider or a devil's backbone cranberry smash. Place your order now at glorydaysgrill.com. Glory Days Grill. Great food, good sports.
Check out Jeremy Kahn's daily picks at PressBoxOnline.com as he tries to find you daily winners. And speaking of winners, here's a man who once won a media curling contest, and I don't think anything else. He's Glenn Clark.
All right, Drew.
We didn't even curl when we went. What do you mean you won a media curl?
No, you went with him. I didn't go with you. I actually
you didn't go on that trip.
I did a real curling thing.
You didn't go.
We took on Section 336 once, and we kicked their asses.
We were supposed to curl down in D.C.
Yes. Yeah, you went with with our former employer.
And it was indoors.
Yeah.
On plastic.
Well, most curling is indoors.
And he pitched a complete fit.
You know what?
It was hilarious.
I remember seeing the pitch.
I came all the way down.
And honestly, I don't blame him.
I came all the way down here for this.
There's a lot of dumb things that guy has done. I don't blame him for losing his mind.
I was just happy to be down there and get free food.
The pitch was, you're going to curl.
You did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you could have.
Yeah.
It was in the basement of the hotel.
Sure.
When the girl said, take the elevator down to the basement, hit B, and that's where it's set up, I immediately thought,
there's probably not an ice rink in the basement.
This sounds different than what I thought.
It's not actually even technically an ice rink that they curl on. It's something, you don't wear skates when you curl. You wear like some special shoes that they give you, and I'm an undefeated curling skip, and I deserve that respect when people talk about me. Hey, today's show is also brought to you by, just go check out the great offers available at PressBoxOnline.com/offers. If you haven't signed up for sports betting yet, I believe Drew has signed up for every single one of them, I believe is the case. How'd that Alabama-Memphis game go last night? Some of the offers available
include NATO, it's right in the face.
Jeez, $100 in free bets from Barstool after placing your first $10 bet, or up to $1,500 in risk-free bets from Caesars. PressBoxOnline.com/offers. So do you care? I never know how you're going to respond.
Okay.
To something like Carlos Correa getting 13 years and $350 million.
That's insane.
I don't get that, right? Like, who cares?
I couldn't care less.
Give me a baseball player. I don't care what they get paid. I don't know why we pretend to care what baseball players get paid.
I couldn't care less what he gets paid, but it's insane to give him that kind of money.
But, so what? Is it insane?
Well, why didn't they just give him $400 million?
Okay, fine. Why didn't they just give him $400 million?
So
is it
stupid.
insane to give him $350 million, or is it more insane to not have good baseball players?
Boy, I don't know. When you put it that way, I might take no baseball players and not give a guy $350 million.
You want to throw
Rio
Ruiz out there and play baseball and take your chances?
Yeah, for $775,000,
maybe, and lose,
maybe,
and lose.
There's no guarantee the Giants are going to win with him either.
I didn't say there's a guarantee.
Although I do like him as a player. I mean, I think he's a very good player. I just
it's a very weird bit to me
$350 million
that people get worked up about this. It ain't your money.
Well, how about funny was it when Judge signed that contract and everybody went through the roof? And I'm like, have you watched him play recently?
Yeah, I mean, he hit a lot of home runs.
Say what you will about him.
Stadium,
All he ever does is either win the MVP or finish third every year. Like, what do you want him to do? What do you want him to hit 90 homers? What would make Aaron Judge worth the money? 90 homers?
But I would ask that question about anybody. Like, this is all we ever say. I get it. It's frustrating because baseball players make extraordinary amounts of money and the rest of us do not. Like, I understand that. But
I also think part of that is it gets compartmentalized in with what you do in your own life. Like, no one ever goes from $37,000 to $450,000.
Not normally the way it works. No. Typically, if that's the case, you're probably dealing drugs.
But you see this all the time in sports, right? Like this guy makes the major league minimum, and he makes it because that's the way it's set up. That's the way the formula is. And then all of a sudden, he goes from $775,000 to $24 million. And you're like,
I mean,
that
usually there's an arbitration number in between those two.
But even
things.
those go from $775 to
like $10 million.
$10 million.
Exactly.
I mean, it's insane.
Right.
So I think that's what people. I think that's what people in general get, their feathers ruffled over is not that the guy makes $34 million a year, but that he made $14 million a year last year, had a really good year, and now all of a sudden he makes $34 million. That raise seems a little extreme.
I mean, again,
but yeah, they make whatever they make.
If you were in San Francisco,
they're an $11 billion
if you were doing,
business, or whatever they are.
GoldenGateMorningDish.com this morning, what would you write about the Giants signing Carlos Correa?
Better win. You better win now. Like, you've spent all this money, right? I mean, that's what you're. And look, they're in a weird spot. Boston went through this for a long time. Like, this is an interesting comparison because Boston went through this. There was a time when Boston said, who'd the Yankees sign today? They signed someone?
Did they?
No, I'm saying Boston.
Oh, got
15
it.
years ago,
That's what
Boston said,
and we better, yeah. Yep.
We got to go get Carl Crawford then because they got.
Correct, yes.
And then the Yankees did the same thing.
Yep.
Well, wait a minute. Boston won the World Series last year. Who'd they just sign?
Right.
David Price. Well, we got to go sign somebody.
Yep, got to go get CeCe Sabathia, right.
Yeah. So I think the Giants have fallen into that with both the Padres and the Dodgers. And in fairness, the Padres fell into it because of the Dodgers.
Yes.
The Dodgers have been the train that's driven that whole thing of how many players they've signed and the money they've spent. And the Padres, you can go back and look at this. It's a fact. The Padres never did any of this until they got the TV deal. And then once they got their TV deal, they did what everybody else does.
They also
spend the money.
They never did any of this until
almost everyone else
until the Chargers left too.
Okay,
it's
interesting.
Something that a couple people out there brought up to me.
Interesting.
That you go back and time this. The moment the Chargers were gone and they saw we have a market to ourselves
no
to
question.
Get everyone's dollars.
Which I have to tell you, isn't that far removed from what the Ravens did 15 years ago when they realized that the Orioles were becoming a non-factor.
Right.
And they're like, we're going to overmarket.
Let's do everything.
We're going to go crazy because no one wants to go watch them play anymore.
Right. We feel like we can own the market as much as it's hard to grow the market. There's nowhere geographically really to take it.
The Nationals, and I don't think they were a fluke when they won, but had the Nationals continued on being really good and spent money on a bunch of players and really, really said, we're going to try to be the dominant National League team, then that might have made the Orioles do something. I know they're in different leagues, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
right?
For sure, what you're seeing from the Giants is a direct reflection on what the Dodgers have done. And in their mind, probably said, if we don't get Correa, they will.
Well, and what you're obviously seeing the impact that the Yankees getting Aaron Judge.
Because the Dodgers haven't spent $100 million in 10 days.
That's true.
And they're breaking out in highs.
You did step on what I was doing there.
Oh, go ahead.
Which is obviously you're seeing the impact that the Yankees spending that money on Aaron Judge has had on the Orioles, of course. So you have to keep up.
Correct. Yeah, right. Who'd the Yankees sign back? Right.
Maybe it would have been better on the first bounce. Maybe it would have been better.
Could have served it in the court.
Yeah, I would have. Yeah, right. instead of a fault.
I find it all very fascinating. Obviously, we're dealing with it with the Ravens, and it's different because of the cap. And football and baseball are so different because you do have to spend the money smartly. Where in baseball, you don't have to spend it smartly. This kid will never play 13 years. Trey Turner will never play 13 years. The contracts aren't designed for that. They're just designed to give them the most amount of money they can give them and avoid the luxury tax.
They'll definitely never play shortstop for 13 years. Is it possible that at the end of that their bat can still be productive enough that they can be a designated hitter at some point? I don't know. But
they're doing that to spread the money around for the luxury tax.
I understand exactly why it is they're doing it.
Whereas in the NFL, you're first of all in the NFL, you have to, and I don't know if this is true in baseball, so maybe it is. Do the Giants have to put $350 million away today in escrow?
I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I don't know if they have to do that or not.
It would seem like they couldn't.
I mean,
well, think about it.
How would you have $350 million?
They don't have to have $350 million.
Yeah,
they have to have every dollar that's spent on players. They have to have it.
Right.
So I would assume they don't.
I don't think
that's
possible.
The owner of the team must be somehow personally tied into the deal. Whereas in the NFL, if the Ravens give Lamar a guaranteed deal for $185 million, all of that money's got to go in the bank.
Correct.
All of that money has to be put in the bank.
Correct.
So that Lamar gets his $39 million up front, his $44 million next year, his $54 million the year after, and his $54 million the year after. That's all got to be in the bank.
Yep.
I don't think they do that in baseball. I could be wrong, but I don't think they could do it.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible.
I don't think anybody's. I mean, people do have that much money, but I don't think anybody's got that much money every single year to say I've got 9 contracts that extend past this year, and the total of those is $840 million. I got to put that in the bank. I don't think that exists.
I don't think that's true. Yeah, I'm with you.
So it is easier in the NFL in that you're dealing with less future money because the league is the lifeline of these players is much shorter. But again, I still think that's the biggest reason why I would think that if you put a gun to these owners' heads and said, all right, dude, what's the truth? Why don't you want to guarantee this money? I think they would say, because we don't want to go put it in the bank. I don't think it has anything to do with the actual concept of guaranteeing the money. I think it's that they don't want to go put it in the bank.
It's an interesting thought, right? Like, it's
who wants to go put $200 million in the bank?
I understand exactly what you're saying, but
that you can't use. So I don't know.
You're making an awful lot of money, right? Like, I get it. I
think these owners. I can remember Steve. I think you remember this.
Yeah.
I can remember Steve specifically standing after the event that they used to do in January, and Steve would hold court, and I can remember Steve reciting the numbers that he made, and saying, I'll tell you right now, I pay myself $1 million a year. Every owner does it. We pay each other $1 million a year, and last year I made $17 million. This year, not so good, $13 million. Year before that, we made $15 million. And Steve would say, I would be way better off have taken that $600 million I gave to Art and just put it in the bank. Now they're making $200 million. Mm-hmm. Now these teams are making $200 million. Mm-hmm. So it's swung in his favor, right?
Significantly. Right. And the value of the franchise has gone significantly.
The Ravens is probably, if the Ravens were to, I don't know.
If Washington is $2 billion.
I was going to say the Ravens have to be in that vicinity somewhere.
I would say the Ravens are $1.6
they have
billion,
to be in that,
something.
In that.
Yes,
and if you really want to own the team, because there's only 32 of them, 31 if you don't count the Redskins, or the Commanders.
Right.
If you really want to own one, it's worth whatever you can get now because there's only 32 of them.
Exactly right.
And by the way, if you go buy a snowball stand tomorrow and the guy says, hey, man, this snowball stand's done great. Here are the books.
Right.
We make $80,000 a summer. There's the books right there.
Mm-hmm.
What he doesn't tell you is, what if you go through a summer where it rains 27 days?
Sure. Right.
Right? Whereas in the NFL, he says, why don't you give me $4 billion?
Mm-hmm.
You're making $200 million a year. There's my sheet.
Yep.
Here's how much money comes in.
Yep.
It's a.
Enjoy.
If I had $4 billion, I might buy the team.
Really? Would you?
And I'd make, you know what I'd do?
I'd think about,
I'd make you the PA guy.
Okay. Good. That's the job I wanted.
And then I'd fire you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Like they did Ken Niumatalolo or whatever his name is.
Ken Niumatalolo.
Disgraceful.
Well, I agree with that. That part, that's the first thing you and I are going to agree on.
Disgraceful.
It's utterly disgraceful. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing the way that they treated him.
Maybe the most Bush League thing that's been done. If we do things at the end of the year and we do Bush League thing of the year, this could be the winner.
Who would be, by the way?
That you didn't have the capacity, the decency, the humanity to wait until that guy got back to Annapolis. It's absolutely a disgrace.
So that part of it's true. It would still be embarrassing for the Naval Academy, even if they waited it. Like this is the part that's mind-blowing to me.
It would have been
all the guys ever done.
But coaches get fired all the time.
Understood.
And they have they have a formula, loose that it might be, that says Commander-in-Chief Trophy bowl game. We don't get those things. We don't get those things. We got a problem. Okay. Now we can talk about if that's fair. And I wrote that today. I'm like, dude, you don't even have football players.
Correct.
You have kids who want to be in the Navy
Correct.
who also like to play football.
Correct.
And this guy had the nerve, the audacity to say, well, he's resourced. You mean the gym room that he shares with the like, are you kidding me?
Yep.
You fired this dude?
Yep. All he's ever done. Is win beyond anything that you could ever expect.
It's one of the craziest things. It's
also running.
It's almost one of those like, there's more to this, right?
I don't think there is.
But it's like the Gio Reyna thing we're finding out about now.
Well,
like,
there's a whole lot.
But we're finding out about that now.
Right,
like, okay, so there was more to it.
Yeah, I don't.
This thing at Navy, it's unthinkable they fired this dude.
It's insane. It's insane.
Can you imagine, by the way, Matt Stover's kid, had he come to play for me at Calvert Hall, he'd be in the Masters by now.
Easy over there. Hey, if you're looking
for,
we'll get
he'd
there.
Be playing in the Masters.
If you're looking for a simple holiday meal, try Chick-fil-A catering. From Chick-fil-A nuggets to mac and cheese, enjoy a variety of tray options sized perfectly for your get-together. Order through the Chick-fil-A app and bring smiles to your family gathering. Availability and order requirements vary. See restaurant for details. Matt Stover.
And you know what? We'd have won with Joe Stover.
Good morning. Merry Christmas to you, my friend. It's Glenn. And yes, Drew Forrester is here again hanging out with me and still mad that you didn't send your son over to play for him at Calvert Hall.
Well, yeah, I even took the major family decision to move us back home to Dallas, Texas, so he could really thrive with his golf game. You know that, Drew. So.
I know. He's outstanding.
And
he's outstanding. I'm really happy for you, and he's going to do great. I always told you that. I thought he was a terrific player.
Well, we leveraged it pretty well. He played so well when we got down here that he's playing golf. He's a freshman now at Texas A&M playing for the Aggies. So
and just think,
did it, man.
If he'd have come to Calvert Hall, he'd be done at Texas A&M. He'd be already on tour. Well, tell him I said hi. Tell him I said hi. It was always a pleasure to compete against him. He was, as I've said to you a number of times, he was a great competitor and a terrific kid.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Always good to talk to you. Obviously, Matt is with us because this Sunday, records are made to be broken. And this past Sunday, Justin Tucker broke Matt Stover's record for the most points in Ravens franchise history. Matt, I'm going to guess that it didn't take long into Justin's career for you to realize, like, yeah, this dude's probably going to end up breaking my record at some point, right?
Well, not only that record, but every other record.
Yeah, correct.
He's that good, and it's great that he's the one who did it, because if I'm in the same sentence as what you hear now today, probably that greatest kicker ever to kick in the NFL, because he's proven it. On the distance of kicks, and his numbers are just real, outstanding. I'm glad that my name's still being mentioned, and I haven't been forgotten, right?
Correct. I do apologize that basically every conversation it seems like we've had with you for the last decade was about another kicker. But no, it is, of course. It's always nice to be remembered. And it's a funny thing that we brought up too on Sunday on the postgame show is like maybe it's better to be the franchise that had Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers or something. Like maybe it's better to be the franchise that had the two greatest quarterbacks in football history or something like that. But it's pretty amazing to consider that sort of, legacy, that move from great kicker to another kicker. There's something to be said for that for a franchise.
Well, it is, and it tells you the importance that the Ravens put on the position. In fact, they even backed it up with money for Justin. And I appreciate that. I do know that the support that he has from Jim, not Jim, sorry, I played with Jim, John Harbaugh. Yeah. And remember, Jim was a Raven at one point. And but John Harbaugh and I, we hit it off in 2008 when I was there. That was his rookie season. And then Randy Brown and the special team coaches, the environment that Justin has is outstanding. And he's just performed, to an elite level. And when you have a kicker you can trust from 60 yards, that just goes to show you too. And, Steve Bouchard, he's done such a great job with the field conditions. He's put the money there. The team not only, puts the environment around Justin, with regard to coaching, but also with players. The snapping, the holding is the top in the league. Those three guys, there's nobody that compares to them with regard to the consistency that they put forward, the level and the standard that they have for those three individuals is outstanding. And now you've got Sam Cook in there helping them out as well. So I can't think of why other teams don't do the same type of structure for their specialists as the Baltimore Ravens.
He is Matt Stover. He is with us here on GCR after his franchise points record was broken by Justin Tucker on Sunday. Matt, you bring up the 60-yard thing, and obviously the Ravens tried it from 67 a couple of games ago. I don't know if you were watching, but the crazy part about it is, like, a lot of us that were watching were like, damn, he might have a chance to do this. Like, it was insane to think that they should be doing something like that, but you get it. Like, why not give Justin Tucker a shot at a 67-yard field goal?
Well, when he stroked it, everybody thought it had a chance.
Right.
It was
Which is
like,
insanity.
Holy crud, okay, that thing's got a chance, okay, and then it'd make it. But those are crazy plays, but he's been able to capitalize on it before. Of course, in a dome makes a big difference. The surface, the wind, all those things, conditions make a big difference. You can talk to a golfer about that, right? And so if you look at his performance and the fact that he stroked it the way he wanted to, and it landed short, he can live with that. It's when you shank it, or you don't even give it a chance, which I've been in that position before. That's when you just disheartened about it. But for him to gain the trust of the coaches and the organization to be able to even attempt that tells you the type of player he really is.
Matt, we've been making some comparisons, right? The Ravens defense has been outstanding, and they've been kind of running the ball at will. And, they didn't ask. They played with a backup quarterback last week, and they might have to play with a third stringer this week, and they're not maybe asking those quarterbacks to do all that much. And, boy, if that doesn't remind me of a certain team in Ravens history that was kind of similar. Do you get the idea, like, knowing what you guys did then? Of course, football was different at that time, but can it be done now? Can this team go on some type of run where they just say, look, we're going to lean on defense, running the ball, a kicker that we trust, and we can beat Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen doing that if we do it as well as we know we're capable of doing?
Absolutely, because one of the things that you have as a team at this time is a definition and an identity of who they are. I think once we embraced that in the year 2000, when we went with Trent Dilfer and we were not trying to be the hero, throwing the ball in the end zone and getting it picked, where we just, preserve the 3 points. The defense is going to stop them. Let's play a field position game. Punt the ball. Don't turn it over. Remember, turnovers will kill an offense because they get the ball and they typically score. Turnovers are direct effects on wins and losses. So if you go back and you look at the teams that have an identity, they know who they are and they stick to that game plan and they take care of the ball. If you're punting, you're winning with a great defense. And so in my mind, that's what this team's got to do. Now, of course, Lamar gets back out there on the field. Things can change a little bit there. But at this point, they've got an identity, and they need to play to it.
And by the way, when you bring in an inside linebacker, I'm not saying that Roquan Smith is Ray Lewis because that would be blasphemous, but that dude is good. That guy is unbelievable, man. Matt, I got to ask.
And he's a great presence in the locker room, too.
Yeah.
You need leadership in the locker room. You've got Campbell's a great leader in that locker room. He's got a lot fighting for, and he wants to get a ring. So these guys are absolutely embracing the position that they're in right now.
Matt, they're doing a 30 for 30 about you guys. I was talking to Stokely a couple weeks ago when the Ravens played the Broncos, and I was reminding him, dude, we all remember how you used to dress. I mean, like, America's going to see this now on a 30 for 30. Is there anything at all? Like, you've always been a straight and narrow guy. Like, we're certainly not going to see anything controversial from Matt Stover in this 30 for 30. But is there anything maybe that, like, you said at one point or a certain way that are you nervous about anything at all now that America is going to see the 2000 Baltimore Ravens featured prominently by ESPN here in a few weeks?
As long as it's the year 2000, I've got nothing to worry about.
Okay. You're saying that maybe if there was another year that you might have had some nervousness about?
Yeah, maybe there was a little something there, but that year was one of those. Nah, I think I'm pretty good if I look back. And and there's so many funny stories about that year too. And I will say that I get a lot of guys who were on that team still to this day. Stove, it wasn't for you, man. We would have never won that. So, well, I just did my job, man. I just did my job, and that was what it was. I just kept my head down and kept my mouth shut. As you noticed, even the next year with the Hard Knocks,
yep.
You didn't see me on the Hard Knocks.
Yep.
I didn't care to be on the Hard Knocks. It wasn't about that for me. It was about me being the best teammate I possibly could and just putting the ball through the uprights. And that's exactly how I viewed myself in that season.
No doubt. And obviously we know you and we know what you're all about. And there's not going to be some like hidden controversy that's going to be uncovered related to Matt Stover.
Well, what was funny, one time they had me mic'd up in a game, and maybe 2004, 5, I don't remember, and I was mic'd up, and all of a sudden, I was on a kickoff, and I was running down the field, and then the red sea parted, and here comes the returner, and of course I threw an explicative out there.
Wow!
And the video guy says, "We got him. He cussed. We got him." And I'm sitting there going, "Yeah, what would you think I would say when all of a sudden I've got a guy that I've got to tackle?" I mean,
dag nabbit.
Yeah. Right. Oh darn.
Yes.
Oh darn. I've got to make a tackle.
It's the scene from A Christmas Story. He yelled out fudge, only I didn't say fudge. That was exactly how it played out in that moment. We're very excited about the 30 for 30. Hey, just give me the thought on, like, Justin Tucker is doing this now. What he's going to do, the more I talk to guys, the more I get the sense he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, I can't believe we're saying that because you know how impossible it's been for kickers related to the Hall of Fame. But are you starting to believe, like, the more you talk to guys, the more history he makes, that, like, he is truly going to end up breaking new ground when it comes to this? James Lofton looked at me and said, dude, if that guy doesn't get on the first ballot, we shut the whole thing down. And that's James Lofton saying that, right? Like, are you starting to believe?
When you look at great players.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look at great players, and you look at players who changed the scope of the game. Jan Stenerud came in when he did in the 70s, and he changed the way the position was viewed. A soccer-style guy, and that's why he's on, he's in the Hall of Fame. You've got Morton Anderson, who's in there. And the reason Morton's in there is because he changed it and he went to a whole nother level. And then, of course, Adam Vinatieri with the big kicks and the length of time that all of these men played. Justin still has some more time. I believe he's got to put into the league to, gain the full respect of the entire kicking community. But for the time that he's done, he is an elite player. He should be absolutely a Hall of Famer because you look at what he's done with the position. He's taken it to a whole nother level. And you can look at certain players in every position that have been able to do that, and that's exactly how you do it. And then, also the type of teammate he is and the effect he's had on a team. It's not just an individual piece that, he helped the team get to the Super Bowl and win it. And that says a lot about him, and a lot of kickers can't say that. So, I'm proud of Justin. I'm proud of how he's, governed himself and on and off the field and the type of teammate he is as well.
Matt Stover, what can we plug for you, my friends?
Well, the Players Philanthropy Fund, what I've been working on for all these years, is just thriving, and we're continuing to do a lot of great work out in communities around the world. And so that's been a lot of fun for me. So appreciate you allowing me to say that. The Players Philanthropy Fund is doing great. If you need any help with your foundation or you need to create a foundation, look us up. PTF.org.
And Players Phil Fund as well on Twitter. You can follow it. Matt3 Stover on Twitter for him. Apologies, Drew had to run out. He sends his love. Matt, truly appreciate you as always taking the time for us. Congratulations to you and your family on your son's success. Merry Christmas, my friend. Thank you for taking the time for us as always.
You guys too. Take care. Thank you.
It's Matt Stover, of course, one of the all-time greats in Ravens history. And Justin Tucker broke his record, but we knew that was going to be coming some time ago. All right. Hey, we've been trying to tell you, like, gambling can be fun. It wasn't fun, I guess, for Drew. What, by the way, what?
He said he had to get back to church, so he had to roll out.
Right, we got to coordinate these things better.
Yeah, I agree.
We gotta have more of a chat when these things come up. That's on. Half of it is on him because, like,
I understand.
Like, he knows better. Like, just say that ahead of time. But it's on us as well. Anyway, so there was Drew. Nice of him to stop by. Hey, gambling can be fun, but you should set a limit and stay within it. And remember, if you or a loved one has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org for free confidential services. So I guess we'll play Would You Rather Wednesday since Drew decided he doesn't want to. It's a very weird bit. We'll play Would You Rather Wednesday, brought to you by Glory Days Grill when we come back in. It is a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Looking for a simple holiday meal? Try Chick-fil-A catering. From Chick-fil-A nuggets to mac and cheese, enjoy a variety of tray options sized perfectly for your get-together. Order through the Chick-fil-A app and bring smiles to your family gathering. Availability and order requirements vary. See restaurant for details.
Come experience Maryland's #1 sportsbook this NFL season at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, the ultimate place for any sports enthusiast. Take advantage of our 24/7 kiosks, massive video screens, and watch all the action from the best seat in the house. With more money paid out than anyone around, make every moment more at the new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
The Baltimore County Police Department is hiring. Entry-level officers start at close to $59,000 a year with a $10,000 bonus. Some restrictions apply. Plus a great retirement plan, medical, dental, and vision insurance, advancement to specialized units, tuition reimbursement, 15 sick days earned per calendar year, and even further incentives for military members and veterans. If you have a passion for service and want a career for life, visit joinbaltimorecountypd.com or call 410-887-5542. You must be a United States citizen, possess a valid driver's license, and have a high school diploma or GED equivalent. The Baltimore County Police Department is an equal opportunity employer.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Need a last-minute gift for a kid in your life? How about a membership to the Retriever Kids Club? It includes free youth admission to all regular season UMBC home games, plus a t-shirt and a drawstring backpack. Membership is only $35. It's a great deal, makes a tremendous holiday gift. Visit umbcretrievers.com/kidsclub for more info. Membership is for kids 12 and under. The Retriever Kids Club. Find out more, umbcretrievers.com/kidsclub.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, New Maryland basketball coach Kevin Willard sits down with Stan Charles and Glenn Clark to discuss the situation he inherited in College Park and how he plans to get the program turned around. Also, inside, we introduce you to men's and women's college basketball players from all of the teams in the area. And Bo Smoka profiles Ravens receiver Devin Duvernay. Press Box is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
Experience the best in Kamado Grilling, a complete outdoor cooking appliance. The Ginsu Kamado Grill allows anyone to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all types of food. Designed for efficiency and function, the Ginsu Kamado Grill upholds the enduring legacy of the iconic Ginsu brand. The Ginsu Kamado Grill is perfect to cook all year round, is great for parties, and ideal for tailgating with your friends. Reserve your Ginsu Kamado Grill today at ginsugrills.com and get $100 off on your pre-order when you use the promo code TAILGATE. That's ginsugrills.com. Reserve yours today.
Join Glenn at halftime of every Ravens game for the Project Game Day halftime show at facebook.com/PressBoxSports. We apologize in advance. There's not much we can do about his face.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of the program. If you missed Stan the Fan Charles, Ross Grimsley, and Rich Dubroff discussing the Orioles offseason earlier in the week, you can find it right now, facebook.com/PressBoxSports. youtube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. So go check that out right now. Stan and Gary Stein are going to be catching up with John Martin, of course, the director of the Maryland Lottery, to talk about the impact of sports betting. That's going to be later today, 4 o'clock, facebook.com/PressBoxSports. All right, let's play Would You Rather Wednesday. Would You Rather Wednesday is brought to you by Glory Days Grill. That's where Drew and I will be on Monday night. The Comfort Classics menu is available right now at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill. It features the Twisted Ribs and Wings combo, or as Griffin likes to call it, the Meat Tornado, 2 pounds of meat. The Winter Spinach Salad, the Citrus Salmon, the Mac and Cheese Bites, Mr. Richards Meatloaf, the Wings of Gold. Of course, for dessert, the bourbon butter cake.
Oh, my God, it's so good.
Yes, it is. Pair it with a blood orange bourbon cider or a Devil's Backbone cranberry smash. You can get your order in right now at glorydaysgrill.com. 3 scenarios. They are up at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio for Would You Rather Wednesday. Number 1, would you rather the Baltimore Ravens get terrible news today? I mean, wretched, awful news. Both Lamar Jackson and Tyler Huntley are going to miss the rest of the season. They're just going to have to stick it out with Anthony Brown. Or those guys are going to be out for the rest of the season, and you're not going to believe this. The Jets released Joe Flacco today.
So in both scenarios, Lamar and Huntley are done.
Yes. There's no scenario where you get either one of them.
So
either you're just riding it out with Anthony Brown or you're bringing in Joe Flacco.
I'm bringing in Joe Flacco.
Because
I love Joe Flacco. And I think, he knows the building. He knows the team.
I don't know if knowing the building is going to help you when you go play the Bengals in Week 18 on the road.
Familiar opponent. And he's beat him many times. He knows. I'm sure he can help do it again. And obviously we've seen what the Ravens have been doing anyway. He'll be handing it off, 40 times a game, and he can, along with now he's got Deshaun Jackson. I mean, he can take the top off the defense. I think I almost want them to go. This might be the best case scenario.
You got to settle down over there, dog. You got to keep it.
But yeah,
pants.
I'll take Flacco. No doubt.
I'm taking Flacco. No question. No question. I'm taking Flacco.
So, and I didn't do enough to prevent this from being the popular answer. Yeah. Like a lot of people are trying to do with the bit where you're like, well, of course you bring him in, and even if you play Anthony Brown, you have Joe Flacco there for the playoffs because he's January Joe. Gotten a lot of that. The question was supposed to be that you're committing one way or the other. It was supposed to be that either you're committing to saying Anthony Brown is your quarterback, or you're committing to Joe Flacco being your quarterback because you don't trust Anthony Brown. As you could tell, they weren't willing to let him throw the ball on 3rd and 4 late in the game on Sunday because they were nervous. They thought that maybe something could go wrong. Now, he did complete a pass to Mark Andrews on a previous 3rd down, but that was in a situation where they didn't have they weren't in field goal range. So they kind of had no choice. The argument that's most compelling for Anthony Brown is, look, you need a mobile quarterback in this offense. You can't have a statue back there. This doesn't work. There's got to be at least the threat of a quarterback run in order for the run offense to work the way that it works. So at this point, you just stick it out with Anthony Brown or find another mobile quarterback in that scenario that might be out there.
Yeah, I mean, I get that argument, but I mean, you got to be able to throw the ball. I mean, unless they're gonna, commit to like a Navy-style offense and literally throw the ball 5 times.
I think it was my buddy Jake Luke from Baltimore Beatdown shared that on like the Ravens Reddit page that somebody suggested that maybe you replace Greg Roman with Ken Niumatalolo.
I mean, if they're going to do that, then I guess you stick with Anthony Brown. But I mean,
look,
they got to have balance. Joe Flacco is balanced.
There are people that would argue that Anthony Brown was a better thrower of the football in college than Tyler Huntley was, right? Like there are people that would argue that he's got a better arm than Tyler Huntley.
Anthony Brown was Oregon, right?
Yes. Yeah. I can't pretend to have watched enough of it, and I keep trying to tell everybody I don't care what someone did in the preseason. You cannot tell me about that like it matters or like it's real. So I don't know. maybe with a little bit more time and maybe working with him, the Ravens would be willing to let Anthony Brown throw the ball a couple times during the course of a game. But I am definitely apprehensive about it should he have to play on Saturday. It's very difficult for me. In a way, I almost think the answer is you did this. You set this thing up. You made this work. You got to just see what you have. Like, there's some part of me that just sort of says either you're going to be able to make it work with Anthony Brown or it's just time to move on.
If for some reason, if both of them, if Lamar and Huntley are
By
out
the way,
for the year.
The good news being
yes, they're not. Do they sign Cam Newton?
I don't know, the guy that I saw last year. I know we all got. I know it was all wild for a game.
I'm back for one game.
It was a lot of fun.
I don't know. I don't think there's a lot. I don't think there's anything there. I think there's no itch to scratch when it comes to Cam Newton. All right, number 2. Now you all are young. I don't know if are you single, Carson, or
I'm not single.
You are in a committed relationship. You guys might be too young for this to be, but we'll roll with it anyway. The question was, your spouse goes to your company's holiday party, gets extraordinarily, inappropriately drunk, ends up flashing everyone, and kisses your boss on the lips. Yeah. You heard that's not my spouse. I know that much. I'm talking about it. We don't do a holiday party, Colson. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be here. It'd be another company that I work for. Kisses my boss on the lips. Or your spouse does not get drunk at all. Ends up saying out loud to all of every single one of your coworkers, verbatim, this sentence. I'm not telling you I'm one of them, but I think the QAnon people have a point.
I'll go with option 2, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna have to explain yourself.
I mean, I don't really want to see if someone I'm with, flashing the entire party and then
but you're okay
give a big
with
old kiss.
Then being a QAnon sympathizer, like you're good with that.
I think I'd hold out some hope that that's just shtick.
It's not shtick.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could play it off at the party that way, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
She's silly. Yeah.
I'm taking option 2. And
what the hell is going on over here?
I can tell all my coworkers I'm sorry she'd had a lot to drink.
No. I said very clearly.
Right. I know that she hasn't had anything to drink.
No,
but
they know too. They all know.
So the random guy in
she
the
has
corner.
not been drinking all night.
So
everyone knows that. She is deadly sober.
So I've got some creepy coworkers just like checking out my spouse all the time then because they see that she's not been holding.
No, you're at a party. Everybody sees whether somebody's drinking or not.
I still think I'd take option 2 and be like, look, I'm sorry. Like,
boy, you guys. This might be the reflection of your age. This might be basically everybody else has gone with option. I would rather almost anything. I would rather almost her kiss my boss with tongue than find out that she said such a thing about QAnon. I can't believe this is a conversation I don't know how I come back from that. I don't know what I do. It's over.
I think you can talk that. You can walk that back.
If she's drunk,
I have a chance to walk that back.
If she's drunk and does silly things, well, I don't know. I've met my wife before. She's gotten drunk and done some silly things. I've gotten drunk and done some very silly things.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
so I can move on from that. The idea of someone being completely sober and saying they make some points. Don't know where we go.
Also, everybody else
at
at the party's probably gonna be a little drunk and be like, "Yeah, you didn't hear her right,"
You still heard her. This is the part that's troubling to me. You still heard what she said. You still know now that your spouse is a QAnon sympathizer.
That's one maybe we talk about.
I know there's be another
What
conversation.
do you mean you talk about
after
it?
the party?
Like after the party,
to say
driving
what?
Maybe I'm like, yeah. So were you?
Is that you were for real?
Yeah, were you being serious back there?
Yes, that's the point. She was being serious. You can't get around that. There's no being like, it's no big deal. She was just funning. No.
Right. I think, but, the public image, I can kind of control that more.
Again, you keep talking about the public image. I can't tell you how much less of a concern that is to me than the fact that my wife.
Okay, I guess it's because we don't have wives.
Home and dealing with that.
we don't.
I guess that's the reason.
Every day I have to think about that reality for the public part of it. Ain't that concerning to me, Chief? It's in my life. I've got to realize who it is that I'm married to.
I guess it's because we don't have wives, so that we're like, you know what? Yeah, I mean, if that's true, then I guess,
Yeah.
move on.
I don't know. I also don't like my boss coming in to like tell me something I have to do better with my job, and I'm like, man, that guy's kissed my wife before.
By the way, that part of it, it's a kiss on the lips. It's not like people greet each other sometimes with kisses on the lips.
That's true.
I'm a very affectionate drunk. I absolutely am the type that will kiss someone on the lips when I'm drunk. Like I'm an affectionate person.
Sometimes
That's
kiss
just
a
the way
fence
that
on
I
the
am.
lips, right, Glenn?
I did. I once kissed a fence on the lips. I am that part of it. Just none of that is all that bothersome to me. It's the exact line where I say, like I don't know what the next step would be where I would say, all right, no, that's too much. I'd rather deal with the other thing. But no, none of that is all that bothersome to me. Overwhelmingly, everyone in agreement with me.
All right.
Because that is a step too far.
We're holding strong.
Yeah,
we're holding strong.
You're showing your age. And it appears, number 3, it appears bleak now that the Orioles, but I got good news. The Orioles are going to make moves. Would you rather?
Yes.
They sign Nathan Eovaldi.
Yes.
And they bring back Trey Mancini. Or they don't bring anybody new, but they give Gunnar Henderson the 8-year, $100 million Ronald Acuna deal in order to buy him out of arbitration years.
So Adley's
no, stop.
Nothing with Adley.
There's nothing involving Adley.
Okay.
Stop. We always try to do this. You're trying to Kyle it up. There are 2 options that are on the table. I said what they were. Stop. Somebody else, I think our buddy Ivan tried to do this earlier. Give Gunnar the money and then go ahead and give a Brinks truck to Adley too. No.
Yeah, I like that one.
There are scenarios. You have to pick one scenario or the other. You don't get to make up your own.
All right, so we bring back Trey and we sign
Nathan Eovaldi
for what, like a 2-year?
Whatever. It's a reasonable deal.
And we bring back Trey on a 1-year deal or
whatever a reasonable deal is. You're overthinking this.
I'll lock down Gunnar. I'll lock down Gunnar for 8 years and $100 million. I like that. That's a great deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll invest in the future as well and lock down Gunnar for the long term.
The argument for people that care about money is that like Gunnar does not quite seem worthy of the Ronald Acuna deal just yet.
That's true.
I
Maybe.
like Gunnar Henderson. I think he's a good baseball player, but are we confident that $100 million is like? I think there's a real chance that ends up being, but not. I don't know yet that we feel that way. I don't know, but yes, I'm probably in agreement about it.
I think my thought process there is if we give him that 8 years, $100 million contract, we kind of dodge the possibility of having to pay him a Carlos Correa type contract in the future, mayally. When he's after
he's a star,
right? When he's a real star, he can become a star on the
and I also
more
think
reasonable contract.
I also I mean if we sign Eovaldi and Mancini, that's definitely going to be it. And I feel like if we lock down Gunnar, like we can still sign.
No, that's it.
Litter.
Either one, that's it.
No more free agents.
There's nothing else you're doing.
Jeez.
That's it.
I mean, I'd still rather lock down. I won't. I feel like that. I feel like that's much more exciting that you have Gunnar now for 8 years than having Eovaldi and Mancini for another year or two.
I tend to agree with that. I tend to be in agreement. Most people are in agreement as well. Dave, however, makes the argument for you can always do a Gunnar Henderson deal a year from now. There's no reason why you have to do it right now. Why not take a couple of pieces that might be able to help you, even if you're turning around and dealing Mancini again at the deadline next year? You're adding in. Why would you sign up for an offseason in which you're not getting anybody else?
I like that. We should do that. We should sign Mancini to a 1-year deal, and just every single July
make it a new tradition to trade him.
Deal him. I'm sure he'd be down for it.
I don't know how much.
He's a nice guy. He'd be down for it.
He's a nice guy. He seems like a nice guy. Maybe.
Hey, this team's about to win a ring. We'll send you there.
Yeah,
we'll bring you back.
Being constantly traded. I don't know about that. Continue to get me your responses at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio. We will pick someone to win the $25 gift card to Glory Days Grill. If you've not picked up this print issue of Press Box, it's only going to be available for a short time longer. It's got Kevin Willard on the cover, only like a week or so left on this one. And then our Best of 2022 issue will hit newsstands, including our Mo Gabba Sports Person of the Year on the cover. So go get this now before it's gone. It's available for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms and the hundreds of locations around town where you find Pressbox. Read it all, PressBoxOnline.com. So we are trying to move a little bit quicker today because Griffin and I have to run down to the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland because we have to try our hands at RoboKeeper. It's very important. What we don't have to do is eat any hot wings because we kick those dudes' asses in Pittsburgh. We're good there. So we just get to go down, have fun, gloat, and try RoboKeeper. It's going to be a fun trip down to the FanDuel Sportsbook. Yeah. So we are headed to the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, which, of course, for you is the best place to watch and bet on every sporting event. It is awesome, and that includes the second World Cup semifinal this afternoon as well as the final on Sunday. Will Leo Messi finally win a World Cup title? You'll be able to watch that and then stick around all day and watch football on the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino in Hotel Maryland. So we'll come back in. Tidbit will be next. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Experience the best in Kamado Grilling, a complete outdoor cooking appliance. The Ginsu Kamado Grill allows anyone to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all types of food. Designed for efficiency and function, the Ginsu Kamado Grill upholds the enduring legacy of the iconic Ginsu brand. The Ginsu Kamado Grill is perfect to cook all year round, is great for parties, and ideal for tailgating with your friends. Reserve your Ginsu Kamado Grill today at ginsugrills.com and get $100 off on your pre-order when you use the promo code TAILGATE. That's ginsugrills.com. Reserve yours today.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
Join the Maryland Jockey Club at Laurel Park for Christmastide Stakes Day on Monday, December 26th. An exciting day of live horse racing awaits you with a whopping 6 stakes races worth $600,000 in prize money. Plus, enjoy a specially curated stakes buffet, a delicious hot chocolate bar, and hot cider cocktails. It may be cold, but Laurel Park has plenty of horse racing excitement, food, and beverages to keep you warm. Don't miss Christmastide Stakes Day at Laurel Park. Visit laurelpark.com for more info.
Another Orioles season is in the books, and the Bat-Around was there every step of the way as the Birds posted their first winning season in 6 years. And after promoting 2 #1 overall prospects in Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson, Mike Elias has said it's liftoff from here. Hi, I'm Paul Valley, and along with my co-host Zach Goodman, we'll be here every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon all off season, discussing every signing, trade, and waiver claim as we navigate the cold winter months that lead to spring training. You can watch us at youtube.com/PressBoxOnline and Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, or listen live at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. And if you miss a show, you can find us anywhere you get your podcasts. So tune into the Bat-Around with Paul Valley and Zach Goodman every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon right here at PressBox Sports.
Need a last-minute gift for a kid in your life? How about a membership to the Retriever Kids Club? It includes free youth admission to all regular season UMBC home games, plus a t-shirt and a drawstring backpack. Membership is only $35. It's a great deal, makes a tremendous holiday gift. Visit umbcretrievers.com/kids club for more info. Membership is for kids 12 and under. The Retriever Kids Club. Find out more, umbcretrievers.com/kids club.
If you can't listen or watch live, you can subscribe to the show via Spotify, Amazon, or Apple Podcasts. Leave a 5-star review while you're there. Or, if lying isn't your thing, we'll take a 3.5-star review too.
All right, back in here on GCR. We're going to go ahead and get a tidbit and tubular now, and then we will wrap up today's show with segment number 1 of the Tyus Bowser Show from last night. Tidbit is brought to you by, how about this one's brought to you by the Baltimore County Police Department. Of course, they are still collecting unwrapped toys as well as non-perishable food items to help out the community this holiday season. Stop by any Baltimore County Police Department precinct or Glory Days Grill right here in Towson this week and drop off your unwrapped toys as well as your non-perishable food items try to help out those in need in our community. And if you have considered that maybe it's time for you to move on and try a different challenge in life, you want to be part of the change that you want to see in the local police force, or maybe you know a young person who graduated last year and has failed to launch since that point, has just sort of been sticking it out at home, maybe working a restaurant locally that has no real direction. Might be time to start thinking about whether or not they might be a good candidate to join the Baltimore County Police. And jobs are available. Join BaltimoreCountyPD.com. Great $10,000 signing bonus available with very competitive starting salaries for both cadets and officers. Again, join BaltimoreCountyPD.com. What you got?
All right, let's see. So first one I have is Jamar Chase. So on after what he had 100 yards and a touchdown, and on Sunday against the Browns, he is now the second player in NFL history with 2,000 or more receiving yards and 20 or more receiving touchdowns at age 22 or younger. He's the second player in NFL history to reach those two milestones.
Congratulations.
At 22 or younger. Who is the only other
Randy
person?
Moss.
It is
Randy
Randy
Moss.
Moss. It is Randy Moss. Those are the two guys to do that at age 22 or younger. And then also on Sunday, Josh Allen he threw one touchdown pass through the air, and then he also scored one with his legs, and that was his 24th career game, and it's only his 5th season. His 24th career game with one passing touchdown and one rushing touchdown. That moves him into 4th most in NFL history, like for most games with one passing, one rushing touchdown. 24 career games. So can you name the guy that he tied, all the guys ahead of him, and let me see if you should know the rest of the. Yeah, well, let's round out the top 10. See if you can name the top 10.
So there's 9 names that you're looking for, as well as Josh Allen. So
Correct.
Michael Vick.
Michael Vick is one of them. 22 for Michael Vick. So he is 7th.
I'll put Steve Young in there again.
Steve Young, he has 31. He is 2nd on this list. 31 games.
Fran Tarkenton.
Fran Tarkenton is who Josh Allen tied. 24 games for
How
Fran
about
Tarkenton.
Dante Culpepper?
Dante Culpepper is 8th on this list. Or no, he is 9th.
No, it's still on the list.
He is on the list.
Randall Cunningham.
Cunningham is not in the top 10.
Very surprising.
Yes.
How about Donovan McNabb?
Donovan McNabb's a good guess, but he's
really
just on the
a
outside.
runner in
yeah.
any way.
Well, just I guess longevity.
Yeah,
21 games.
longevity.
Yeah, 21 games for Donovan.
Mahomes.
Mahomes not on this list yet.
I'll say Lamar. I don't think so.
Yeah, Lamar, only 12 for Lamar. Yeah, so he is.
We brought him up earlier. Cam Newton.
Cam Newton is number 1. 45 such games. So that is 14 more than the next closest, which is Steve Young. First place on this. 45 games of one passing touchdown and one rushing touchdown.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers would be the next closest active. He has 30 games. Such he is 3rd on this list.
It's not surprising at all.
Yeah, one behind Steve Young.
Man, it's tough. Steve McNair.
Not Steve McNair.
Warren Moon. He wasn't
Warren
a runner.
Moon. He's a good guess. He's just outside 19. Outside.
I'm actually surprised it was that many.
Yeah, I am too.
That's the problem now. Is trying to figure out if you're looking for runners or
or
you're
just
looking
guys
for
that played
guys
for a while.
Yeah, right. Man.
I'll take a longevity guess and guess Kurt Warner.
Not Kurt Warner.
But he didn't really play for that long. Is the problem with Kurt Warner? Of course, he was doing the Ravens game on Saturday.
Is Russell Wilson on the list?
Russell Wilson is not on the list.
That was a good guess.
They're all no longer active players in the NFL.
Okay.
So they're actually all not quite older, but they're older players here.
Older players that we're talking about. John Elway.
John Elway.
Good
He
one.
is
That
on
one
the
makes
list.
sense.
He
That
is,
makes sense.
He is 9th. Sorry, Culpepper was 8th. I was right when I said that. Yeah. So you have 2 more. Both of these guys are very, very old. I don't.
Y.A. Tittle.
Not Y.A. Tittle. I don't think you'll be able to get
Otto
one.
Graham.
What about Terry Bradshaw?
Not Terry Bradshaw. Bradshaw is 21, so he's just on the outside, but not in the top 10.
Otto Graham.
Not Otto Graham. I'm trying to think of if I can even get a hint because I don't know these guys.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. What? Then why did you?
Let's see. Well, yeah, I know. I probably should have stopped at the top 9, I guess. He played
Sammy
for,
Baugh.
No, he played for the Patriots.
Drew Bledsoe?
Not Drew Bledsoe. Much older quarterback for that. Yeah, you might
no
not get
idea.
it. Steve Grogan.
Oh, actually, okay. I mean, I know who Steve Grogan is, but
Yes.
I didn't know that he would have made this list.
And then he was he passed away in Maryland. I didn't know that. He was born in 1935. It is Jack Kemp.
Well, Jack Kemp was the vice president candidate. He was whose vice? He was Bob
was,
Dole's vice. He was Bob Dole's running mate when Bob Dole ran for president. But Jack Kemp was a senator for a long time. Jack Kemp was makes sense that he would have died in Maryland because he worked in Washington D.C. because he was a senator.
Well, he was on the top 10 of this list.
How about that?
Yeah.
How about that?
Jack Kemp.
All right, very good. Tidbit was also brought to you by the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill. Save $100 when you use the code TAILGATE at ginsugrills.com. Again, ginsugrills.com. Use the code TAILGATE. Save $100 on the Ginsu Kamado Grill. Totally Tubular is brought to you by UMBC basketball. Coming up this Sunday, the UMBC women take on American, and the UMBC men, who are red hot right now. Don't forget, January 1st, big showdown game against Vermont, rematch of last year's America East title game. Experience game day at the Peak. Reserve your tickets right now, umbcretrievers.com, to check out UMBC against Vermont at Chesapeake Employers Insurance Arena. Here is what is coming up totally tubular tonight. Maryland, UCLA, 9 o'clock, Fox Sports 1. Will go a long way for if you want to believe that Maryland can be in an upper echelon team, but go a long way for them to win this game. Whether it's reasonable to have ever thought that way or we were getting completely carried away based on a solid start, I lean a little bit more towards that side of things. Depth's going to be a problem. Again, just being competitive goes a long way to proving that they have a chance to reach the NCAA tournament. I just don't think a lot of people were seeing like, oh, man, you know, Andy Katz has them as a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. He's up on all that. They have 6 players. Like maybe
see if we can make it
up.
3 tonight, too.
He's up. That would be nice if they don't go 2 for 24. World Cup semifinal number 2, Morocco and France, 2 o'clock on Fox. None of the rest of the college basketball, none of it's all that significant. You can find it at glennclarkradio.com. Wizards Nuggets at 9 on NBC Sports Washington. Of course, Alex Ovechkin, by the way, scored his 800th career goal last night. I don't care. It's just you're never going to get me to pretend like the Capitals are a local thing. They're not. I'm sorry. If you like the Capitals, bless you. I'm not. I have no issue with you being a Capitals fan, but pretending like Baltimore is Capitals territory is not real. Like, you can be a Capitals fan. It's fine. I'm a Coyotes fan. Like, a lot of us root for teams in other markets. It's cool. I don't have a problem with that. There's no hockey team here. Root for whoever you want to root for. But it drives me nuts. It is a major hockey story. There's no doubt about that. It is a major story. In fact, I was going to talk to Drew because I know he is a Capitals fan about right now, you're still not at the embarrassing place with Alex Ovechkin. Like, he can still play. But in pursuit of this record, if he gets to the embarrassing place, I think you just have to let him keep doing it. Like, I think you have to keep sending him out there no matter what it does to your franchise because he is your franchise. Like, you are irrelevant outside of that man's career. So I think that they just have to keep grinding it out and saying, if he wants to play for another 4 years and he stinks, we just have to deal with it because he's trying to get this record and we owe it to him. ESPN's got Knicks Bulls tonight at 7:30, Timberwolves Clippers at 10, TNT Red Wings Wild at 7:30, Canucks Flames at 10, TBS for AEW Dynamite at 8. Some non-sports highlights?
Yeah, a little bit. Survivor Season 43 finale on CBS tonight at 8. Harrison Ford will be on Stephen Colbert tonight. Margot Robbie will be on Kimmel. I have no clue. I guess since I feel like they'll talk about the new Indiana Jones that's coming out next year.
Yeah, that's right. God.
Sometime next year.
It's so no interest in that.
Yeah, Margot Robbie.
I assume Shia LaBeouf is doing it again.
Is he with the Indiana Jones?
Remember when they sold their soul for Shia LaBeouf? They were like, we're going to make Shia LaBeouf the next Indiana Jones.
It's Shia LaBeouf, not LaBeouf?
I don't know what it is.
I called him LaBeouf.
Whatever. I don't know.
Margot Robbie for Babylon.
I care about when we do that with athletes. When we do it with actors, I don't care.
The Saturday Night Live Christmas special.
I do always. My favorite thing every year is when we get to the part of that where Garrett Morris sings Winter Wonderland. It's my favorite. I love it. It's not Christmas until Garrett Morris sings to me.
Fallon will have Salma Hayek and Wiz Khalifa. Wiz Khalifa, who performed at halftime of the Steelers-Ravens game.
Yeah, saw him in the stands and on the sideline.
Didn't help much, did it?
He was a good gig for him. He just came out there. He didn't even sing or anything. They were just playing his music, and he was like kind of walking around. It was Everybody was going nuts for him. It was pretty cool. Wiz Khalifa. Janelle Monáe will be on Seth Meyers for Glass Onion, which will be out on Netflix next week. Hard Knocks, Cardinals, they're still doing that. The Santa Claus's season finale is on Disney+.
Okay.
New episode of Willow, and then National Treasure: Edge of History, the series premiere on Disney+.
This is a show about the National Treasure
yes,
movies,
but no Nicolas Cage.
The hell is the point?
Exactly.
What the
That's what
hell
I'm
is the point of it?
I mean, they're still building up like it's gonna be something great, but I mean, there's no Nick Cage. I don't know.
There's no chance. I mean, I wasn't even Nick Cage was involved. I wouldn't look at it. I have never watched a National Treasure movie, but I at least get the bit of I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence. Like I at least get
Nick
the
Cage.
bit. But
I thought the movie. I like the movies.
Did you see Nick Cage's movie from earlier this year?
No, I do need to see that.
The unbearable weight. Yeah, unbearable weight of massive talent.
Yeah, massive talent. Yeah, I do want to watch that.
It's great.
Is it available on a streaming service?
Good question.
I do want to.
I saw it in theaters because I don't know why, but
whatever. You've probably seen worse.
Oh yeah, Halloween Ends, worst movie ever.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah. Let's see if that's out on streaming yet. The unbearable weight of massive talent. Let's see. Yeah, not sure.
All right, thank you. Very dynamite effort. Dynamite. Tubular was also brought to you by PressBox Online.
Oh, it should be on Hulu.
Okay. PressBoxOnline.com/offers, where you can take advantage of $200 in free bets from DraftKings after placing your first $5 bet or $1,000 in risk-free bets from BetMGM. Again, PressBoxOnline.com/offers. When we come back in, we'll wrap up the show and set up segment number 1 of the Tyus Bowser Show. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Join the Maryland Jockey Club at Laurel Park for Christmastide Stakes Day on Monday, December 26th. An exciting day of live horse racing awaits you with a whopping 6 stakes races worth $600,000 in prize money. Plus, enjoy a specially curated stakes buffet, a delicious hot chocolate bar, and hot cider cocktails. It may be cold, but Laurel Park has plenty of horse racing excitement, food, and beverages to keep you warm. Don't miss Christmastide Stakes Day at Laurel Park. Visit laurelpark.com for more info.
Come experience Maryland's #1 sportsbook this NFL season at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, the ultimate place for any sports enthusiast. Take advantage of our 24/7 kiosks, massive video screens, and watch all the action from the best seat in the house. With more money paid out than anyone around, make every moment more at the new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
The weather outside is really unpleasant, so it's time to warm up with some comfort classics this winter at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill. Try the Twisted Ribs and Wings combo. It's 2 full pounds of meat, the mac and cheese bites, Mr. Richards meatloaf, the citrus salmon, the winter spinach salad, and for dessert, here's internet radio personality Griffin Bass to tell you about the bourbon butter cake.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Pair it with a blood orange bourbon cider or a devil's backbone cranberry smash. Place your order now at glorydaysgrill.com. Glory Days Grill. Great food, good sports.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Stan the Fan here, welcoming back one of my favorite sponsors, the Costas Inn. And everybody around Baltimore knows the Costas Inn is a great place to go and grab crabs, steaks, salads, soups, whatever's on your mind to eat in person. But did you know that the Costas Inn has upped their game? They are now one of the premier takeout places in Baltimore. Give them a call now to order your food, 410-477-1975. That's the Costas Inn over 4100 North Point Boulevard.
Looking for a simple holiday meal? Try Chick-fil-A Catering. From Chick-fil-A nuggets to mac and cheese, enjoy a variety of tray options sized perfectly for your get-together. Order through the Chick-fil-A app and bring smiles to your family gathering. Availability and order requirements vary. See restaurant for details.
Tune in to Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday at 11:40 a.m. And if you really have nothing better to do, keep listening to this show, too.
All right, back in here as we wind down for a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of the Oh, you all right over there? Jeez, settle down. Continue to get me your responses for Would You Rather Wednesday, brought to you by Glory Days Grill. We will pick a winner tomorrow, so you got all day in order to get your responses in. Everyone gets registered to win the $25 gift card, so jump on at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio to get your responses in. Today's show has also been brought to you by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today. One more push. We got good and bad news yesterday. So the good news was Ben in San Francisco got into our Bowl Pick'em. Brian Regan got into the Bowl Pick'em. I feel somebody else got in yesterday. So that was good news. Bad news is a few people who had told me they were in apparently only wanted to donate money. They did not want it to go towards the Bowl Pick'em. So that was disappointing. So we kind of ended up having a trade-off yesterday. So I could still use, I'd say, like 3 or 4 people. I still think there's 1 or 2 that did give money that are still going to sign up. I'd like to get it. We're sitting at 20 right now. I'd like to get to 25. I think we're really sitting more like at 22. So I need 3 more people. 3 more people to get in $20 for a 50-50 charity Bowl Pick'em contest. 50% of the pot going to the winner, 50% of the pot going to Helping Up Mission. If this is what we got, this is what we got. You know, like, well, it'd be $200 that we didn't have to go to Helping Up Mission. I'll love that. But I feel like if we could just get 3 more people, we'd end up getting to $250 raised, $250 to the winner. And that would be awesome. So 3 more of you, share it out today on your socials, please. Share it on Facebook, Twitter. You can go at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter. It's still pinned up there, all the details. Glenn Clark 180 on PayPal. Glenn-Clark on Venmo. $ Glenn Clark Radio on Cash App. Again, 50% of the pot to the winner. 50% of the pot to Helping Up Mission. So maybe you win, but in the end, you did some really wonderful things for a charity that can use it. So that's the best part of this. Our 50-50 Bowl Pick'em. Please get signed up today. Games start on Friday. So if you already signed up and didn't make your picks yet, start thinking about making your picks, at least for the early games, because bowls start on Friday. Just picking straight-up winners. It's very easy. I know you can do it. I believe in you. Please help us out as we lift up the Helping Up Mission, and appreciate all of you that already have. Just like a couple more people to get involved with that. And also to those of you that said, hey, I just want to donate money to charity, we appreciate that too. I really do appreciate that. But it's a unique opportunity to maybe win some money as well. So be a cool thing for you to do. All right? Very good. Thanks today to Drew Forrester, I guess. Very weird. Thanks also to Matt Stover. Thanks to Rick Spielman. We'll get all of that up, as well as the Tyus Bowser Show, in the Greatest Hits section of the tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Tomorrow, I will be wearing the Jaguars' sexy mascot costume tomorrow, and we will do picks with KZ.
Jackson DeVille Clark.
Yes, Jackson DeVille Clark tomorrow. Tyrod Taylor?
Tapeworm shot. Yes, Tyrod Taylor.
I also do my tapeworm shot. We will continue our celebration of the 10th anniversary of the Ravens winning Super Bowl 47. Tyrod Taylor from that team, who's now with the Giants, will be joining us tomorrow. Stacey Dales, you said, is NFL Network. She'll be part of the broadcast for Ravens Browns on Saturday, and Stuff and Things.
Stuff and Things. Tapeworm shot and Jackson DeVille Clark.
Yeah, that's right. That's the big highlight tomorrow.
That is the big highlight.
All right, very good. Thank you. Carson, where are you on social media?
At Carson Ware.
At Carson Ware with an media. I. Carson Ware. W-A-I-R-E.
That's right.
Guess where the I is.
Yeah, right? It's actually before the W. It's weird. That's how you
it's
spell
silent.
it.
It's a silent
Makes no
one.
sense. Makes no sense. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. I guess I should thank our partners and sponsors, everybody at Pressbox, the Baltimore County Police Department, Problem Gambling, Glory Days Grill, Royal Farms, Costas Inn, Maryland Jockey Club, Baltimore area Chick-fil-A restaurants, Great 8's Memorabilia, the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, where Griffin and I are headed, Maryland Vascular Specialist, the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill, UMBC Athletics, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. All right, have a great Wednesday night. Go Terps. Duke sucks. Ohio State sucks too. We wrap up today's show with segment number 1 of the Tyus Bowser Show from last night at the Hamilton Sports Bar and Grill.
Welcome out to the Tyus Bowser Show. We are live at the Hamilton Sports Bar and Grill on Harford Road, Pressbox and 105.7 The Fan. I'm Glenn, she's Rita, and would you guys please put your hands together for the host of our program, Mr. Tyus Bowser. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, too.
we can talk about the fact that we get to do one of these shows for a change, and I really like these shows.
And we won.
Yes, correct.
Wait, have you noticed though? We've only had 2 shows in which we won. We did a show after we won. Do you know both of them were here at the Hamilton Sports Bar and Grill?
I did. It's a lucky spot, man.
So this must be a lucky place.
Dante, I don't know. We're gonna have to schedule more shows here, man. That's just the way it's gonna have to go. We got to do what we got to do to help everybody out. Definitely. We love the Hamilton Sports Bar and Grill. Live music Thursday and Friday nights. It is such an awesome atmosphere. Great to be here. Tyus, you want to introduce us to your special guest this evening?
Yeah, man. This is a Texas native of mine. University of Texas. This is a Pro Bowler. This is probably one of the quietest dudes, but definitely a guy that I respect, man. I love his work ethic and what he does for this team, man. And that guy's number 13, Devin Duvernay.
We all want to do it together one time right now? Ready? Devin, thank you so much for coming out tonight, man. It's great to see you.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much. You said Pro Bowler, all pro, by the way, as well.
All pro,
let's
too.
Make sure we give the man his roses.
That's on me. All
Get
pro.
Get it right.
The show is brought to you tonight by Maryland Vascular Specialists. Their team of surgeons is Maryland's leaders in ethical arterial procedures. How freaking good does it feel to go to Pittsburgh under any circumstances, but more so under all the circumstances that you guys are going through, and come away with a massive win like that?
Nah, man, it feels good, especially to get one in Pittsburgh. We lost, the past 4 games, 4 meetings against them, so to be able to get back.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
Hey, my first time beating them.
Yeah, we got to put it out there that, we struggled against them the past, few meetings, so to be able to get one, especially in Pittsburgh, is definitely big time.
Devin, what you just said there, it felt like you thought about that. Like that you had considered the fact that you hadn't officially become a Raven yet, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, it was on my mind, all week that I hadn't beat Pittsburgh yet. And then, to beat them in Pittsburgh was definitely big, and, got another one to take care of. So, but yeah, definitely, good to get the first one off your chest.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Favorite moment during the game for everybody that was watching, or really watching social media, was what happened after the blocked field goal. When they hit the song, and anybody who's ever gone up to Pittsburgh has experienced that moment. And look, we don't like anything about Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But that moment is real.
It is.
Like, it is intense.
I've seen it live. I know what that Renegade thing does to the crowd. So the fact that y'all jumped in on that and was waving towels and getting fired up along with the crowd was so I've watched it probably 10 times since Sunday.
No, but I don't know. I guess it's just something that kind of get us fired up too, especially that it's their song. So we try to pitch in. We try to bring our energy as well, because we know that's what's going to come. Especially, with me playing against them for so many years, what that song does to that stadium. So you got to feed off their energy and find a way to, break through that. So that's kind of something that we've kind of been doing now lately whenever we hear that Renegade.
Was it planned? Had you guys talked about it that week? They hit the song, we're going to own it now moving forward.
We've kind of always done that, though, honestly, when I think about it, because the past few minutes that we played there, it's always been a thought, they're going to play this Renegade song. We play it during practice. We play our music, and that's the main song. That song, they'll probably play it 8, 10, 12 times, throughout practice. So we know when that moment comes, that's when you really got to lock in and go out there and fight to get a win out there in Pittsburgh.
Devin, you guys are going back out on the field, obviously.
Yeah, I was about to say, I didn't see it till I saw on social media.
Really?
But it was actually pretty cool to see. But yeah, I think we were on the field.
Calais, I thought, was gonna end up hurting himself.
For real.
He owned the whole thing.
Between him and JPP was out there jumping up and down. I was like, hey, don't jump up too excited,
Nah, but hey, dudes was fired up though, man. Everybody was fired.
That was awesome to see.
Dude, it was so, and then of course you guys put together this, felt like 40-minute drive afterwards. What did the block do for you, given everything that was going on, right? Tyler goes out, things maybe not going your way, Devin. What did that do for momentum to sort of inspire putting together what John Harbaugh called like one of the great drives in the history of the rivalry.
I mean, yeah, man, it sparked us for sure, and just, let us, see like, man, we got to help the defense out, man. Just make this drive long, convert, get first downs, put it in the end zone. If not, at least get points. So, those plays, like all the picks we had, 3 picks or whatever it was, the sacks, those all give us energy, man. And when our defense is playing like that, it's easy for us.
Somebody got a sack. Somebody got a sack on Sunday. Somebody got a sack on Sunday. Who got a sack on Sunday?
Should have been 2, man, but I ain't gonna say none of that.
I didn't want to bring. Okay, are you the type that you think more about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's still
like just talking to Justin. Really, a lot of the great, outside linebackers, rushers that I played with, they always say you remember the ones that you missed more than the ones that you actually made. And that's definitely one that I'm going to remember missing, because I'm there, and those are the plays you want to make. I mean, that helps us. We put them behind the sticks, and then now they behind, on their side of the field, and that's helping, get our offense the field advantage to go out there and get a score. So for me to miss that and then they go and complete a pass after that, man, that was tough, man. It's heartbreaking.
Was that the drive? Didn't Marcus end up bailing you out on that drive? Wasn't that?
I think he did. I think he did, yeah.
So then you're off the hook, aren't you?
No, you're not off the hook, man. You got to make those plays. We shouldn't have to get in that situation if I go and make the play.
Did you let Devin know about the Tyus Bowser Show bump, though? Did you let it? I mean, like, it continues. Marcus not only gets back out on the field, but ends up coming away with another interception. I mean, at this point, we have to acknowledge it's real, right? Like,
nah, he's a baller, man. He's definitely a baller.
Well, I know that, but I mean, the Tyus Bowser Show bump is real.
Yeah, I feel like every time that we've had a guest, they've always played. They've had some great game or something after they come here.
I think Justin had 5 sacks in the 2 weeks after he came on the show.
Yeah, he had 2 or 3 sacks, and then he came on the show. So,
I'm telling you, there's something real to this about the type.
Man. That's why I'm continuing to try to bring in all the best guys, man, that I know that making plays out here. So.
But what we're saying is everybody needs to go pick up Devin this week for their fantasy playoffs.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Because he's about to go off for 150 yards on
especially against Cleveland, man.
Got to. It's only right.
I got a question, though. I don't know if you guys saw this, but some Steelers defenders were interviewed after the game, and they all admitted, we knew the Ravens were going to run the football at the end of the game. Everybody knew it, and yet somehow we were not able to stop it, and for them that was disappointing. So, Devin, for you as an offensive player, obviously, you're playing at this point with a third-string quarterback in Anthony Brown. You get out there, everybody. This is not a secret. I showed you my hand. You know what I'm going to do. You got to stop me anyway. And they can't. How does that make you feel knowing they had one job, but you did your job better than what they did in doing their job?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome to see. It's just a credit to, the hard work we put in and the guys we have, the depth we have to, go and execute. I mean, no matter who we're missing, we expect the next guy to fill in, have no drop-off. So, I mean, it's just a, credit to our coaching and, just the guys we have for real.
It's the Tyus Bowser Show, 105.7 The Fan and Press Box. We're at the Hamilton Sports Bar and Grill. Devin, when you guys are in those moments and everybody knows, are they literally yelling it out on the field? They're running the ball. Are you getting any of that?
Not necessarily that, but you can definitely tell they know that whether it's they're changing, the fronts and whatnot, and how many people they're putting in the box. You can definitely tell. But exactly, they got to stop it, and if they can't stop it, there's nothing they can do about it. So
it's got to be the most, obviously you're on that side of the ball. I don't know how many times it's happened to you in your career, but is there anything more demoralizing than what a team is about to do, and you can't do a damn thing about it?
Yeah, no, I couldn't imagine how they were feeling. It's got to suck.
Tyus?
I feel like they just, like you said, that just lets you know the type of men we have on our team, to where you take that man on the other side of the ball wheel and you let them know, hey, this is what I'm doing, and you're not going to stop me at all. Or I'm going to block you and you're going to be over here and we're going to go through this gap and get a first down to win a game. You're literally telling that person that, and that's a whole mindset thing. That's a physical thing, and I mean, you can't really beat that. It's at that point, cool. It's what can you do?
It's so cool.
What can you do? It is. It's awesome to see that.
It's something barbaric. We've talked about fighting. You're a fight fan. There's something truly barbaric. You're just literally delivering a knockout in that moment.
and you have to accept it.
Yeah, correct.
You have to accept.
You got to pick yourself up with the canvas and realize you just got knocked the F out. Like you were, what's his face in Friday?
Facts.
You were Debo in Friday.
Facts.
You
That's
just got
literally
knocked the F out. Hey, online sports betting is live. Get $200 in free bets when you make your first $5 bet with DraftKings. Go to PressBoxOnline.com/offers to see more about DraftKings and other sports betting promos and offers. Devin, we introduced you as an All-Pro. Look, I know you're going to accomplish a lot more things in your life. Like, I'm not trying to say, like, this is the end or anything like that. But can you tell me what that's like for someone who grew up with dreams to know that whatever you do for the rest of your life, you will have always been in a very small group of people that ever accomplished being a Pro Bowl or an all-pro football player?
Yeah, man, it's kind of still surreal, man. It's a blessing, though. Just credit to the, hard work I put in, and the people I've had around me that's just, help mold me into the player I am today, the person I am today. My parents, my family, my college teammates, my pro teammates, and just, everyone that's been around me, man. And, I just, they're the ones I go hard for. And, I just can only try and be as best as I can and, let my play just, show itself.
You said he's quiet, but does he ever remind you guys? Like, do you ever start like having fun in the locker room and he's like, yo, put some respect on my name. That's all pro Devin Duvernay. You ever get any of that?
Nah, he a humble cat. He a humble cat, but don't get it twisted though. If you disrespect him, he gonna let you know. he gonna definitely let you know.
As he should.
And knowing Duve and knowing how quiet he is, especially when I see him on game day and he make a play or run somebody over and I just see him like in their face and like, yo, you ain't messing with me, bro. And, like, it get me fired up because I know dude. Mm-hmm. So for him to bring out this other side of him, it just excites me.
Is there a moment where he like snaps, like you're like, oh, yo, now he's in the zone? Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
Does he have do you have a different personality? Who was it that we had on the show? They said that they were completely different when was it Justin? Was it Justin?
I think it was.
So are you like that? You come off very quiet and humble, but when you're on the field, it's you got like a whole different persona.
Yeah, I'd like to say it's definitely a different mode.
Do you have a name?
Tap into. Nah, I don't.
It doesn't have a name.
Nah, I don't
okay.
have a name, but definitely a different mode. You tap into just to, go out and play with that aggression you got to play with.
I would like to make a suggestion. I feel like when you go on the field, you should just change it. Your persona is now all pro, so they should only refer to you as all pro when you get out there.
Yeah.
We demand that. We're gonna. Rhea and I are gonna start
AP for short. AP
right.
for short.
I can go with that.
See,
Tyus, we talked about you getting the sack. It just kind of struck me, and I saw some people tweeting about it during the game on Sunday. Like, you're only a couple weeks removed from a torn Achilles, and you've been out there bawling. Was there a moment for you that it felt normal again? Did it feel real? Were you at all apprehensive when you came back? Like, is it going to be the same? And what does it mean now being a few weeks in? I know you're still beating yourself up over the one, but what does it mean a few weeks in being like, oh no, I'm me again. Like, I can do this still.
I think it was just, from this off season and kind of just reflecting on myself, understanding that, I'm going to go through this phase, preparing myself for that moment to where I'm like, I'm back on the field and I know I'm going, feel a little different. I ain't going to be super confident in it until I actually put myself out there. And I think having that mindset helped me prepare by putting in the extra work, putting in the extra time, like doing the little things and getting with the right people to help work on those different situations of things. And even me watching film, looking at different games and just seeing, different types of outside linebackers and ends and, the different positions that they in or, where they taking on blocks, whether it's rushing the passer or tackling or somebody falling on them or, getting lost in a group, a big pile.
Have you had a moment where you kind of panicked a little bit? Like,
I did a little bit, but it wasn't nothing bad to where I didn't trust it. Okay. It was just like, I went through and it's like, okay, I'm good.
Right, like I can still do this.
Yeah, I can still do it.
Right.
So it just be them little things where it's almost like checking off the box where it's like, okay, I'm able to do this. Okay, I did this, or I went through this situation. I didn't think this was going to turn out well, and it did. So then you just start getting more comfortable, more confident in it.
I'm imagining a scenario you like ask somebody in the locker room to kick you just to like.
Nah.
I just want to know.
Nah, ain't nothing like that. It's more like just fire off the ball on me, you know what I'm saying? And then let me be able to hold on the block or rush the passer and press down on me and see how I react to being able to keep my balance, things like that, to where I'm like, okay, I'm good.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's working out okay, by the way.
Yeah, it's working.
You should see how your friend Rita reacts every time you make a play. Like she's losing her damn mind every time you make a play.
I feel like a proud auntie. I'll be like, that's my man, that's my guy over there. So I'm always cheering you on.
You know your buddy Jameson does the same thing too.
Oh, I already know. I already know.
Yeah,
He watching.
that's true.
I already know he watching.
All right, make some more noise. Tyus Bowser, Devin Duvernay are out with us. Betting online or at the casino can be fun, but there are risks involved. If you're betting, set your limits, stay within it, set a budget and a time to stop. If you need help, call 1-800-GAMBLER or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org. You got a nice shade of red on tonight. It's not so dissimilar to another color of red, and I want to see if we can maybe convert you to another shade of red after I found out about a game you went to a couple weeks ago. So we're going to talk about that when we come back in. This is the Tyus Bowser Show.